plea negotiations with the state regarding his corruption charges, something that could potentially affect his testimony before the Madlanga Commission. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
A third suspect in the alleged 14 million rand precious stones robbery is expected to appear in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court this morning after handing herself over to police. The EMPD officer handed herself over at the Edenvale police station yesterday after evading arrest over the weekend. She's expected to face charges including robbery with aggravating circumstances and fraud. Her court appearance comes as other co-accused two officers in custody ahead of their formal bail application next Thursday. Madlanga Commission reports.
The three are among 6 people accused of robbing Peter Prinsloo of 6 boxes of high-grade sugilite and manganese stones, commonly referred to as precious stones, valued at 14.9 million rand during an alleged bogus law enforcement operation in Killarney in 2023. The 6th suspect died in October last year. The case came to light after a witness, identified as Witness K, testified before the Madlanga Commission about the details of the alleged robbery. The state alleges the group, while armed with firearms, assaulted Prinsloo, threatened to inflict grievous bodily harm and stole the precious stones. The group includes suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi, who's yet to be arrested. Further arrests are imminent, police say. Madlanga Show, Eyewitness News.
The DA wants the presidency to conduct an immediate lifestyle audit on the new Minister of Social Development, Dina Pule. Pule was appointed to cabinet last week, more than a decade after she was dismissed for unethical conduct related to her tenure as communications minister. While the ANC says Pule can't be condemned for her misdemeanors of the past few years, the DA says she can't be trusted given her track record of unethical conduct. Lindsay Dentlinga reports.
Dina Pule is replacing another former beleaguered leader of the ANC Women's League, Sisisi Cholashe, who was fired by President Cyril Ramaphosa in May, following maladministration in her department and allegations of redirecting a donation of cars to the League to her children. The DA yesterday delivered a letter to the presidency demanding a baseline assessment of Pule's finances and assets. The party's Nazli Sharif says Pule is unfit to lead.
The Department of Social Development serves the country's most vulnerable people, and taxpayers deserve confidence that public resources will be protected.
Pule was found to have misconducted herself both by the Public Protector and Parliament during her last stint as Cabinet Minister in 2013, when she was found to have tailored contracts to benefit her romantic partner. Last week, ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula said Pule had voluntarily removed herself from public life following the investigations, and the party believes her to have been repentant. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And the death toll from Russian strikes on Kyiv has risen from 8 to 10, with authorities warning the number could rise. More than 10 explosives rang out in the Ukrainian capital today during a ballistic missile alert. Russia has routinely launched waves of missiles and drones at Ukrainian cities during its more than 4-year invasion, which is Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. Ukraine has also stepped up long-range drone attacks inside Russia in recent weeks, targeting energy infrastructure and military targets. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky is heading to the NATO summit in Turkey today. There, he will urge Kyiv's allies to deliver the air defense system it urgently needs to protect itself from escalating Russian attacks. The summit in Ankara will also be a chance for Zelensky to hold a meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump, who says both Russia and Ukraine's presidents want the war to end.
President Putin wants it to end. I will tell you that very strongly. What a good call. And President Zelensky actually wants it to end now. And we're going to be going to NATO, and we're going to be talking about it. And I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get it ended.
Gold is trading at $4,131.78 an ounce. The rand is at 16.25 to the dollar, 21.75 to the pound, 18.57 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.88 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Germiston, we've got an accident on the N3 North. It happened right near the Geldenes interchanges, causing heavy traffic volumes. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N12 and the R24 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: lawyers for alleged crime underworld boss Vusmuzi Kat Matlala are expected to appear before the Madlanga Commission today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy that connects us all.
That's what makes this one so special.
In 702, Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Nine minutes after 9 o'clock, Dumelang. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. Great to have you with us here on 702. I hope your day is going well so far. Before we start with the 702 open line, I want to alert you to something that we're doing tomorrow. So, at 10 o'clock tomorrow, we're going to do the Unemployment Hour. It's our quarterly feature. So what we have been doing over the last couple of years is dedicate an hour where we open the lines and we give unemployed graduates an opportunity to market themselves, and also give an opportunity for employers to call in and tell us what skills they're looking for. And we do this because we want to connect to the 702 family. And as I always say, even if we just connect two people, I think we would have made a dent. We have a crisis of unemployment in this country, and I think where possible, we must try to do our bit to help resolve this crisis. And this is our bit as the Clement Manyathela Show. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we've managed to help some graduates on this show, hooking them up with companies that require their skills. So a few people have gotten jobs through the Unemployment Hour. And there are many companies out there that come to the party and they say, look, here we are. We will take that person. Those are the skills we're looking for, because we have such generous listeners, right, who are always ready to walk the talk with us. So I'm calling out to you as recruiters as well. I would like you to listen in. Maybe you will find the skills that you're looking for. I'm calling on the people who are willing to provide even mentorship for those in need to also call in. If you're an employer or a recruitment agency, this is also an opportunity for you to locate the skills that you require for your business. In fact, you can send me an email, but only if you're an employer or a recruiter, right? For the unemployed graduates, you have to give me a call at 10 o'clock, together with also the employers. But if you're an employer out there and you want to share with us what job opportunities are available in your company, you're welcome to send us an email on cm@702.co.za if you won't be available to call at 10 o'clock. And yeah, just send us an email with your required skills, and the team will try and match them with potential candidates. And look, I understand that companies are struggling. I understand that there are simply way too many unemployed graduates, but I want us to do our bit. And maybe there's a company that will find something. Maybe there's a graduate that will find something. So please, if you are or you know a graduate that's unemployed, tell them to tune in tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And if you work for a business that has some openings, some opportunities, don't hesitate to get in touch with us as well. But right now, we start with the 702 open line on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Have you at all been surprised by what you have heard at the Madlanga Commission about Crime Intelligence Deputy Head Firoz Khan? The Madlanga Commission has read evidence into the record against the Crime Intelligence top cop in his absence. Remember, he is currently in hospital after being shot several times during a suspected assassination attempt in June. So the evidence that has been read shows a series of deeply incriminating interactions between the top cop and auto spare parts businessman Ismail Vali. There are messages that showed that Khan and Vali allegedly coordinated a tender bid submission through a company, and the pair discussed insider tracking of the application process, even the potential for financial gain that could be kept outside of the systems. I mean, if you look at their chats, they even say, don't put the money back into the system. So this was all coordinated. And these conversations have shown the monitoring of bidding competitors and the chase by Valley for further contracts with the SAPS with the help of a national treasury official. So part of the evidence also said that Khan lived a life that exceeds his police salary. The financial disclosures of Khan show that in 1 year he disclosed a total of 30 cars. 30 cars, just in 1 year. They also show that Khan owns a car parts shop where he profits about 3 million rand a year. In fact, evidence leader Adila Hasim said Khan's wealth is quite concerning when evidence before the Madlanga Commission shows that he was part of a scheme to manipulate a tender of supplying car parts to the South African Police Service. In fact, go check out an article on News 24. They've got an exclusive report about Khan's various mentions. I mean, 39 million rand in property portfolio. That's a top cop who earns about 1.3, 1.2 million rand a year. But go check the properties that he has in Houghton, mansions in George. And this, for me, just raises concerns around the crime in crime intelligence. And it's very difficult to oversee crime intelligence because it's veiled in so much secrecy, right? We're not supposed to know what crime intelligence does. They're supposed to operate in secret. These are spies, if you will. But the problem when there is not effective oversight, there's an opportunity that's open for people to really exploit resources. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of million rands in crime intelligence coffers. And there's an opportunity here to just steal, and enrich yourselves. So let me know what your thoughts have been listening to what has been revealed about Firoz Khan. I hope he's going to get better in hospital so that he can come and answer to some of these important questions that the Commission has. Share your thoughts on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's 072-702-1702. Here's something that may not shock you. President Donald Trump confirmed yesterday that he asked FIFA to look again at Folarin Balogun's one-game suspension at the World Cup. So remember, this U.S. top player, who's 25, was going to miss his team's match yesterday against Belgium because he got a straight red card for a foul play in a game against Bosnia. But then FIFA shocked everyone by deciding to delay the automatic one-match ban for a year, which caused a lot of criticism, as you can imagine, including from UEFA, from Belgium, from even the England manager, Thomas Tuchel. So because of FIFA's decision, the player who has scored 3 goals so far at the tournament was able to play in yesterday's game against Belgium. But the US lost to Belgium 4-1 in the end, and they're now out of the game. So let me recap. We're dealing here with a situation where a top US player gets a red card. He gets banned for 1 game. Trump then calls the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, to complain and ask him to review the decision. And then FIFA decides to reverse the decision and allow the player to join the match yesterday. What do you call that? Is that interference? Is that intervention? Listen to how Trump explained his interference yesterday.
But all I did, I asked for a review because I didn't think it was a foul. And, again, I'm good at this stuff. I didn't think it was a foul. I thought it was two great athletes that crashed into each other and got entangled. That was not a guy punching somebody in the face or anything that, would be different. And I think it's a terrible, if they wouldn't allow, a top player, maybe the best, maybe among the best players on the team to play, I think it would have had a big stain. And I related just that feel. I didn't tell him what to do. I can't tell him what to do. But and I don't believe he made the decision. I think it was a committee that made the decision. And they made the right decision because, number one, it wasn't a foul. And you want to see a game with your best players. You don't want to say, how would you feel if I took, we take Messi out? Look, he ran into somebody. Or we took Ronaldo. You bunked into somebody, we're going to take you out of a game. He's great. Or Harry Kane, we're going to take you out of the game, Harry, because you happen to hit somebody a little bit harder than you can't do that. If you would have taken him out, I think it would have really stained this incredible champion. We got to have our best players, and Belgium's got a great team, by the way. We got to have our best players, and they have to have their best. And if we win or we lose, it's fair. Otherwise, let's say we lost him and we lose the game. It would be a terrible thing. So I think they made a really brilliant decision. I think the referee's call was horrible. And nobody talks about that. They talk about the red card like it's fine. Nobody talks. The referee's decision to red card. I didn't know what the hell a red card was. When I found out, I said, you got to be kidding. This guy just hands up, okay, your best player is not going to play next week or in the next game. I said, wow, that's a lot of power. That's terrible. But then I looked at his past, and it wasn't so great.
I can't. I really can't. And then the Republican Senator, Ted Cruz, said this yesterday to Trump.
And on behalf of all Americans, thank you for getting rid of that ridiculous red card. This is his. That was interesting. It was spectacular. There was a reason the FIFA trophy sat here for as long as it did.
Yeah. So what does this say to you about how this World Cup has been run so far? Because I'm actually not shocked at Trump's interference. And I'm not shocked by Gianni Infantino either. I mean, that's the same man who awarded Trump the inaugural FIFA Peace Prize. Remember that? They gave Trump a peace prize. FIFA has never done that before. And they said they created this award that was designed to recognize individuals who use their leadership and actions to advance peace, unity, and conflict resolution globally. I mean, so that's why I'm not surprised by Gianni Infantino. I actually expect it from him. I don't think he's got... I can't use that word on the radio. Doesn't have the... What's the appropriate word? The gumption. Doesn't have the... It just doesn't have the gumption to be a leader. Because how he has behaved has actually been quite wild. So I'm actually more concerned about the consequences of such interference in the integrity of the tournament so far. I mean, how could FIFA reinstate a U.S. player despite a red card just because the country's president called? Imagine if Emmanuel Macron put up a call, or Qatar, their leaders put up a call as hosts. How would we feel? Would we feel that it's justified? And the thing is, the U.S. has actually been playing so well so far. They didn't need the stain and the scar on their journey. Now look at what happened yesterday. They lost to Belgium, and had they won, I bet you that would have been mired in a lot of controversy. So now there are some FIFA members of the executive committee that are calling for the resignation of President Gianni Infantino. And some are even saying they are preparing a lawsuit against him. And Gianni Infantino, released a statement yesterday. Let me read it quite quickly to you. And he said, and I quote, "I've seen the public comments regarding the decision of the independent FIFA disciplinary committee related to the suspension of that U.S. player, and I'd like to reiterate a fundamental principle of FIFA's governance. FIFA's judicial bodies are independent, they operate autonomously, apply the FIFA disciplinary code, and decide cases based on the applicable regulations and the specific facts before them. Their independence is essential to the credibility and integrity of football, and this must always be respected. Yes, I regularly discuss matters related to the FIFA World Cup with the President of the United States, and on this matter, I did receive a call from President Donald Trump, just as I received calls from heads of state, government officials, football stakeholders, and business executives from around the world on many different issues. During our conversation, I explained that there was an ongoing legal process involving FIFA's independent judicial bodies and that the case would be decided in due course by the competent bodies. That is how FIFA's system works. And it is a principle that I will always uphold." End quote. So that's what he said yesterday. I saw even Sepp Blatter tweeted, and I thought, Mr. Blatter, I think you're the last person to speak. But here's what he said on Twitter. He said, "Red cards are not overturned by political phone calls. They're overturned by rules, evidence, and independent bodies. If a U.S. president intervenes with the FIFA president and a player is suddenly cleared before a World Cup knockout match, the question is unavoidable. Qua vadis, FIFA? Football must never become a playground for political power." I mean, he's probably the last person to speak, right? But whoa, he's telling some truth. Before I came on air, Bongani Bingo sent me something that shocked me, and I was about to break it to you because I actually believed it, because anything is believable, really, with Donald Trump. Bongani sent me a tweet that says, "Breaking news, USA is now through to the final 8 after FIFA agrees to overturn the loss to Belgium." This was obviously a joke, but is this not believable? I bet you it's possible. Let me know what your thoughts are about that. At 10 o'clock, we're going to speak to Jeremy Michael from the Madlanga Commission about the possible extension of the commission and the outstanding testimony of some witnesses. At 11 o'clock, we'll do our World of Work feature. Today, we're discussing how to regularize domestic workers. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with our health and wellness feature. And today, the focus is on understanding congestion. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela, 702 listeners. I'm not surprised by what I've heard about Major General Khan. I think we have heard even previously, wherever there are drug busts, he's always found around those areas. So that already was an indication that this is not one of the honest cops. And surprise, surprise, when it's their time to go and appear, then they get shot or they are ill or whatever. The same with that guy, Van Wyk, who was brandishing cash and saying the aircon is not working. All of a sudden, the toughness disappeared when he's supposed to appear at Madlanga Commission. Thank you.
Good morning, Clement. Hope you're well. Clement, I just think that General Khan's appearance at Madlanga Commission just says a lot about why Julius Malema didn't want him at the ad hoc committee. And I just think that him appearing there raises a lot of questions as to will Julius Malema be called to come? And when is Maumela coming to the commission as well? I just hope they extend it so that we can get clarity on all of these matters. Thank you very much. KP from Joburg South.
Clement and the team. For me, when I heard from all the generals and even Khan himself, when I heard the evidence that was given, the main question that I always been left with is, when do they do their job? No wonder we have so much crime in this country, because our police officers are busy chasing money, tenders, and the country is being left to criminals. And also, if you don't hold your job to a high standards and then you want to protect the country, this is what happens. So all of them had time, but their job, all of them. Kanye is worse, because he's a crime intelligence police. So, yeah.
Yeah. You know what, guys? I think we need to pray for Firoz Khan more than ever because he needs to wake up. Yeah. We need to pray. Like, you need to pray for Firoz Khan, who is now in hospital, because we need him to wake up so that he can go answer some questions at the Madlanga Commission. Because what's been revealed is quite something. And clearly this guy has access, as we have heard before, to some senior political leaders. And he's got access to people in procurement, at Treasury. You see the name of Fani Molefe being mentioned at Treasury because he mentions in his WhatsApp conversations. And you know who Fani Molefe is? That's the same chap who was at the SAPS, heading procurement there. Which is why he's now suspended at the SAPS because of that contract that went to Ket Matlala. And Ket Matlala, if he accepts that plea deal, I wonder what he's going to say about all these other cops that have been suspended, whose names are linked to that corrupt tender that was issued to Ket Matlala. So let's pray for Firoz Khan. We need him to get up, be healthy enough to appear before the Madlanga Commission. Let's go to some of your WhatsApp voice notes now on what happened between the FIFA president and Donald Trump.
Good morning, Clement and your team. I think with Donald Trump, Clement, we can blame Trump, but I think we've got a weak president in Flantino. For me, it looks very clear when Trump called him, he told him his displeasure and he acted immediately out of the rules of the game. I think this president of FIFA needs to resign as soon as possible because since day one, we all know the stories that happened in that USA World Cup at Lem. A lot of people denied the visa, a lot of dubious VAR decision. It depends. It's an animal farm to be exactly. Messi was not supposed not to play other games because of that red card that they've never even given or even went to VAR to check what is happening. What a disgrace from Max in Pretoria.
Good morning, Clement. Pat here from Spivey. You know, this is really a fallacy about football. According to FIFA rules, government authorities are not allowed to interfere in football at all. So what do you say about this one now? Anyway, the world is celebrating thanks to Belgium and Gamma justice revealed or served.
So Bazima Shilowa tweeted that. Bazima Shilowa tweeted, and I quote, "Then God said to the U.S. and FIFA presidents, 'Not on my watch. Justice will prevail.'" The U.S. lost to Belgium yesterday 4-1. Sviso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The Gauteng government has promised steps will stay on for residents in the Lesedi local municipality following a deadly service delivery protest. 2 people died last week during clashes with police when residents were protesting over water shortages in Ratanda, southeast of Johannesburg. Provincial government and municipal representatives, as well as Rand Water, have now agreed to address the municipality's financial crisis and water debt. The Board for Healthcare Funders that represents private medical aid schemes has heard that its litigation against the National Health Insurance could drag on for at least a decade, with several cases lodged by various organizations across the country's courts. The PHF's lead attorney on the matter, Neil Kirby, says the cases are worth pursuing because of the impacts the NHI could have on the quality of healthcare. And Washington has briefly become the most populated major city in the world after a massive Independence Day fireworks show. The goal was to break a world record by launching 850,000 fireworks in 40 minutes, despite warnings of serious health risks. July 4th fell during a record-breaking heat wave that upended the parades, block parties and barbecues that traditionally mark the day the U.S. celebrates its break from Britain. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling in Boksburg, we've got delays on the N17 West. This is between Vanderbilt Road and Osborne Road. That's due to roadworks there. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North approaching the Geldenhuys interchange due to an accident while heading towards Bedford View. Queuing traffic along the N12 and the R24 West. This is between Edenville Road and the Glulies interchange. If you are travelling in the Sandton CBD, do expect heavy traffic volumes. This is along Grayston Drive as you come out of Rivonia Road. An accident reported there. While travelling on the M1 South towards Melrose, please be on the lookout for roadworks taking place right near Corlett Drive, causing delays. In Rosebank, we've got an accident reported. It's on Jan Smuts Avenue, right near 7th Avenue. It's also causing heavy delays there. Please be on the lookout and approach with care. We'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Jozi is moving. People are showing up. Communities are stepping up. We see you, Jozi. Asambe. ABSA is proud to partner with 702 Walk the Talk on 26 July. Thousands will take to the streets of Jozi CBD and celebrate what makes this city iconic. Visit absa.co.za/702 Walk the Talk. ABSA is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Saddle up! Hollywood Bets invites you to join the race day festivities this champion season. The 2026 Grade 1 Hollywood Bets Gold Challenge kickstarts the action. Gallop towards your chance to win a share of 2.5 million rand in cash and prizes with the thrilling Season of Champions competition. Bet 50 rand or more on horse racing online or at your nearest branch and put yourself in the running for gold. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
I'm Zola Nene, working with Ladies of Love to nourish small children who need our helping hands. Join us at Ladies of Love's Mandela Day hands-on events at DHL Stadium on 17 July or Johannesburg Expo Centre on 22nd July and spend 67 minutes hand-making items to grow our future leaders. Tickets are 300 Rand and this gives a child healthy meals for a month. Be a hands-on hero. Visit ladiesoflove.org.za for tickets today.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock. This is the 702 open line. Let's continue with your calls and WhatsApps. Tulani in Centurion. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement. I was saying this romance between Infantini and Donald Trump has rendered this whole World Cup a circus, quite frankly. Look at what they did to Iran. That team had to play in the United States, stay in Tijuana in Mexico, fly in and out every day just for the games. It's just a circus. And just like the last caller said, FIFA suspends any country where there's political interference with the running of football. Now, what is going to happen with this kind of case with the United States? Nothing is going to happen because Infantini is friends with Donald Trump. The last point I wanted to make, Clement, I don't know if you've seen a tweet or I don't know whether it's a tweet or a TikTok message from some member of parliament from Paraguay about Mbappe. Read that thing. It is so vile. Despicable. It is vile, I tell you. But this is what has been happening throughout. There was a tweet by somebody from the United States saying the colonialists have got the colonized Africans playing for them. I mean, what kind of this World Cup has been just a circus for me. Thank you very much.
We should have anticipated it. What did we expect? Knowing what already was happening in the U.S. before it even started. DC, you are in Lyndhurst. What are your thoughts? Good morning.
Morning, Clement. I
I think Infantino has just, undermined the credibility of football with this friendship of his with Donald Trump. I'm not too sure if he's starstruck by the man or there's a financial incentive to this, because if you go back, one of his top referees in Africa, a man that he had just given an award for being a very good referee, couldn't get into the U.S. And Infantino said, I can't make a phone call. I don't get involved.
And now he's telling us, no, we do have conversations with heads of state.
Thank you. So where was this conversation when Omar couldn't get in? He couldn't pick up the phone because no. We don't talk to heads of state about immigration. It's not like I can pick up a phone and ask someone to help. But now when there's a red card for Trump, you can. So I think he's lost all credibility. I mean, I don't know if he's starstruck, Clement, or 5 years down the line we're going to hear of money exchanging hands and this. But there's something that is obviously over him about this Donald Trump.
I just also think he's trying to manage Donald Trump. I mean, if you know Donald Trump, he's quite an interesting, unique individual who wants to be praised. Like every time you see him, you must worship him and give him awards, tell him he's the best man to have ever walked earth. And if you don't do that, then you don't get favors from him. And I suppose in this case, as a FIFA president, what he's tried to do is manage Trump, the character. But my problem is you can't do that at the expense of what is expected of you as a leader. Because you are leading FIFA. Clement. And I mean, you are a FIFA president and you're going to compromise yourself to a point that it's detrimental to the tournament itself. That's wild. And for that, I'm really shocked that he is still even in that position. But let's see, because there are some members of the executive committee at FIFA who are now asking for an investigation to be done, and some are even threatening to take legal action. Netisi in Lyndhurst, thank you so much for your thoughts. It's 20 minutes now before 10 o'clock.
Your voice,
your station,
your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Some of your comments coming through on our YouTube page if you're watching and listening to the show at the same time on the 702 YouTube page. And Pagama says, Clement, I'm very happy that Belgium kicked their backsides out of the World Cup. Yes, World Cup and not Trump World Cup. Gampi Moti says, good morning, 702 family. Clement, who's the lady in studio with you? I saw her yesterday. Is she there to learn from you guys? Yes, she is. This is Matabo who's here. She's been with us to just learn how we do things as we do the show. So I forget sometimes that we're live on YouTube. So people can see what's happening in studio. But yeah, if you're seeing a lady next to me, her name is Matabo, and she's here to learn about how we do radio. Pagama says, Clement, this is ridiculous, nonsense, unbelievable, but believable because the bully of the world, Trump, is involved. So those are some of the comments coming through on YouTube. Let's go back to your WhatsApps on 072-702-1702.
Hi, morning, Clement. Tepe Paxberg. So now, just simply because the player is a great player, so decision need to be made differently. I think if that's the case, which means our own Tambazwan was supposed only to be banned for one game because he's a great player. From us South African, we see him as a great player. So I don't know what Trump is talking about. Anyway, great show as always. But then Trump will always be Trump. Who still always to listen to him anyway? So yeah.
Clement, the woman says he knows football. He's good at the stuff, but only until recently he didn't know what a red card is. What a joke.
Morning, 702, morning, Clement. Clement, I think the next big celebration for this World Cup is watching Argentina exit. They've been treated so much with kid gloves this World Cup because of their FIFA's precious golden boy, Messi. The favoritism aligned with them actually takes away the greatness of the actual player himself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think that's the next big celebration. The exit of Argentina. Go Egypt today. Go Egypt.
Hi, Clement.
I think if 702 can never play a clip of Donald Trump giving his opinion on anything, especially not football, ever again, you'll be doing everyone in South Africa a great justice. Thank you.
That's the leader. What do they refer to themselves? That's the leader of the free world, hey? That's probably the most powerful man in the world as we speak right now. So what he says does matter. You know, as unfortunate as it may be for you to hear it, what Donald Trump, the U.S. president, says or does, it must matter to you because at some level, it's going to affect you. So if he says there's white genocide in South Africa, you must care about that because it will affect you. And so at some point, it will affect your pockets as well. It affects the economy of this country. He's not just an ordinary person that just makes comments. That's a very powerful leader in the world, whether you like him or not. So you need to care about what he says because it is going to affect you at some point.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
Morning, Clement. Papa from Lenesia. Clement, I think Khan's lawyers must just go to hospital and tell him, Baba, you better wake up and get better. Because of there is a possibility of an extension to Madlanga Commission. So there's no need for you to lay on the bed. Just come and answer for your sins. That's it.
Morning, Clement and the listeners. This is Mnetisi here. On the Feroz Khan issue, Clement, I would like to take you back to a week or two ago when he got shot. I mean, remember the conversation we had that morning where most of us were saying, this is a man of good means driving a Baleno. And you said, we don't know that he's rich. We do know because he's always posting Ferraris and his mansions and his lifestyle. He does post that. I don't know if you remember that conversation. But I mean, look at in 1 year, he himself declared 30 cars, some of them top of the range cars. That is why we were taking it with a pinch of salt when he's now being shot in a Suzuki Baleno. That's where we were coming from. I hope you remember that. Thanks, Clement.
I do. I remember that. But what was not told is where do you get the information, right? If someone says, oh, yeah, we know he's rich, and I ask the question, okay, why? What do you base that on? Because I don't know that. And if you say to me, well, he's declared 30 vehicles in a year, right? If you say to me, look at these records that show the kind of mentions that he has, then you're leading me to something. So it's not necessarily a denial that he's rich. That wasn't my position. My position was, okay, I hear you, but where do you get that information? When you say he's a millionaire, where do you get that? So that I'm able to also lead the listeners to go read up about where his properties and if that's what you are referring to or his vehicles come from. In this case now, I have a reference point. I was listening to the commission yesterday and there are revelations about how many vehicles he owned just in 1 year that he purchased. There's a reference about the kind of properties that he has. News 24 now gives us new information. And they're telling us that 39 million rand, that's how much this man has just in his property portfolio. They're reporting about mansions that he has in George. So that's a reference point that I was asking for. But yeah, I remember that conversation. And this is a man who was driving a car that costs how much? And he has 30 vehicles and some of them sports luxury cars.
Hey, morning, Clem. O'Brien Fastoras. Clement, the issue of Faraz Khan, it's also frustrating because, as we are saying, they are the spies. So no one who can spy on them or something like that. That's why there's this looting that is going on. But my main concern, Clement, like at this current situation, can they carry on or they must just carry on without him in his absentia because he's still in hospital? The main question I also have is that This guy was shot the last Sunday, not this previous Sunday. And he went to a private hospital. He was shot in the stomach. How is his condition? Is he not getting well? Is he unconscious? Because as it stands, Clement, he can be unconscious for a week. He can be unconscious for a month, even for a year. So that's why I say we should continue without Feroz Khan. In his absentia, we judge him, and then the show must go on. The Madlanga Commission must go on. Thank you, Clement.
Hey, Clement, with all the corruption that's happening in this country, I hope that Feroz Khan is not under a deliberately or assisted, medically induced coma, conveniently to avoid coming into the Madlanga Commission. Anonymous in Veldevieren Park.
Look, I mean, he was shot. Nobody's disputing that. And I think the family has come out to say, I think the last report I read, probably yesterday, around his health was that he was still unconscious, or was it 2 days ago? If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. Please check me on that. But I think he was still unconscious the last I checked. I'm not sure what the status is right now, but what I'm happy about is that the the Madlanga Commission continues with leading evidence about Feroz Khan. Because here's what some of these guys think. They think, like, remember what Brown Mokhotsi did? Came up with tricks to pretend like he was being, there was an attempted assassination on him, and he engineered the entire thing because he was probably hoping that's going to affect then his testimony at the state capture, at the Madlanga Commission. So, and then we've got, who's that chap? Van Wyk? Mamang Van Wyk, the CEO of Medicare 24. He then tells us on the day he's supposed to appear before the Madlanga Commission, he says, oh no, I've got severe anxiety. Mike Van Wyk is his name. I've got severe anxiety. Please, where was your anxiety when you ran to ENCA to have a conversation about your WhatsApp messages that you knew were going to be presented as evidence at the Madlanga Commission? We're not children here. Then you've got Salim Kasim, Suleiman Kasim. Karim? Okay, the producers are correcting me there. Suleiman Karim is his name, the Northwest businessman. Where, is he still in hospital? Because then he went to hospital because apparently he wasn't well, and I guess he's still in hospital. And now you've got Feroz Khan, who gets shot literally on the eve, just a couple of days before he's meant to appear before the Madlanga Commission. What pattern are you seeing there? What pattern are you seeing? And these are like key witnesses that are going to be quite instrumental in the work of the Madlanga Commission. What pattern are you seeing? It's 11 minutes before 10 o'clock.
At Specsavers, we're committed to offering affordable and professional eye care. That's why we're offering 1,500 Rand worth of savings with our winter promotion. Get a free frame up to the value of 1,500 Rand, or use the 1,500 Rand on one of our leading vision enhancements, like Climate Eyes, which automatically adapts to changing light. To qualify, simply purchase a comprehensive eye examination and prescription frame and lenses. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
Mama Million here, and yes, I am a millionaire. Don't you want to be a millionaire fast? Because now you can play Lotto quick, fast, in a hurry with Shasha codes. Shasha codes are a QR code you can generate, walk into any participating retailer, scan, and print your ticket instantly. In and out. Fast, fast, win-win. The National Lottery. More plays, more chances, more millions. Players must be 18 years or older. Play responsibly. The National Lottery is officially operated by Sizakai.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. Email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Back to your WhatsApps.
Morning, Clement. Morning to the listeners. I think this was actually well planned. I mean, they knew that Madlanga's, commission is running out of funds and we can't fund it anymore. So therefore, they just assumed that, probably the president is not going to, extend the Madlanga Commission. So they might as well actually, shoot himself or do this so that he doesn't appear. So we're just hoping that the president will extend the Madlanga Commission, especially after his name came on those WhatsApp group, so that this man wakes up and come and answer to his, consequences.
Hi, Clement. Good show. It's Vincent Pretoria. Clement, this sort of, in fact, this Khan, General Khan, him not waking up, he reminds me when I was young. I think I used to watch Days of Our Lives, and then there was somebody who was at hospital unconscious, but when his people come, he would talk to them, but other people, when they come, they would say, no, he's not speaking and stuff. So this to me feels like a deja vu, like it's a movie. Yeah, just like, so I don't know if he is unconscious or he's just laying low there by hospital. Thank you.
Did we have pictures of him in blood? We haven't. They haven't published any pictures. I haven't seen anything like that. And you see, that's the thing about, and look, I understand where some of you are coming from, and I don't think you're trying to be insensitive to the family, because, as I always say, at the end of the day, this is someone who actually belongs to a family, a community out there, and they love him. So regardless of how you feel about him, some of these things are sensitive to them, and I don't think that's where you're coming from. You are just a South African who's been traumatized by past events where people have, in fact, faked assassinations. That's where we come from. Who's the Steinhoff CEO again? Marcus Uaster? He was killed, right? Did you see? Oh, he killed himself. Yeah, he committed suicide. And the only thing I saw there was just blood. I don't remember ever his body being out there, like where people showed like his body. And I could be wrong. If you've seen it, please remind me. I don't. And again, I'm not suggesting anything here. I'm just trying to show you that there have been questions before from South Africans because we are all traumatized. You just never know what you're dealing with. Huh? And how about the Bosasa CEO? Is it Gavin? Gavin Watson. Remember Gavin Watson? Who decided to drive a Corolla. This is a multi-millionaire. Decided to get into a Corolla to drive to the airport. And what happens? Accident. Dies. Have you seen the body? I haven't. But normally in accidents like that, people come, they take out their cell phones, but I guess maybe they didn't know who they are. I don't know. All I'm saying is I get your frustration, and I get where some of you are coming from, questioning these things. Like, oh my goodness, was he really shot? Did he get people to shoot him? Was he really a victim of, maybe, is it people who wanted to kill him because they don't want him to testify, or they wanted to buy more time? Who knows? But like that listener said, kifilimi. Like it's a movie, what we're seeing play out as a result of what's been happening at the Madlanga Commission. And may this movie end on a good note, on a note of justice. Because that's what we're all seeking, right?
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Clement, the part that irks me the most in all of this conversation is that if African politicians say one or two things about their local league, if they try to do one or two things about their local league, FIFA itself will sanction such a nation. And yet, because they would say they have their rule that there should be no political interference. And now here we have a politician asking FIFA itself to rescind the red card, and that is done. I am just wowed. This is Timothy from Auckland Park.
Good morning, Clement. You know, Clement, speaking of this FIFA, this Infantino, he just needs to go. He just needs to go. He has showed us that he's a puppet of Trump. It's like it's a gangsterism thing of FIFA now. Like it's ruled by gangsters. What is that? We have seen that. Is it the power of money because he's a friend of Trump? No, man, Clement. This FIFA, I don't know, this World Cup, the whole thing, I don't even, I can't just wait for it to finish. I can't just wait for this World Cup to finish, and then we know that it's past. Then we continue our lives. Because what is that? How can you do that? That Trump guy is a psycho. That Trump is not a normal human being. Because what he does is it's just amazing, and it's shocking. Thank you, Andy from Cape Town.
Absolutely, hey. Okay, it's now 3 minutes before 10 o'clock.
What's so exciting for me about this year's event is that we're going back to a place I know so well. I just haven't been there for so long. I'm so excited about going to that precinct around the CBD, the life, the people, the history that is there. All of that is what makes me so excited about this year's Walk the Talk. You should take part in this year's Walk the Talk because it's a coming together of the 702 family of a community. If you like that feeling of being part of something, of watching your children being a part of something bigger than you. That's what the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk is all about. This year I'm going to walk the full 15 Ks. I want to see as much of the inner city of Joburg as I can. I want to walk it in a way I've never walked it before, and that's important for me. To enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, go to primemediaplus.com. It's very simple. We'll see you there. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. We're going to have a great time.
Big advances in health are happening right here in South Africa. Local researchers are studying a new TB vaccine called M72 that could help stop people from getting seriously ill. And programs like Cochimpilo are helping men living with HIV overcome stigma, start treatment and stay on it through peer support and private chat guidance. It's South Africans helping shape the future of global health, supported by the Gates Foundation for 25 years. Partners of human potential.
You know when your people are giving their best, not because they're pushed or pressured, but because they feel supported. And support is making sure they're covered. So if something happens, they can get the care they need. FlexiCare Health Insurance makes it simple for every business to protect their people with affordable health cover. You care. We cover. For a tailored FlexiCare quote, speak to your financial advisor today. FlexiCare is not a medical scheme and the cover is not the same. FlexiCare is underwritten by Auto & General, a licensed non-life insurer and FSP, and administered by Discovery Health, an authorized FSP.
Winter Survival Kit 101. 7 blankets, check. 4 jerseys, check. 3 pairs of socks, check. 2 pairs of shorts, check. Or hear us out, you could just visit Chamberlain. Join us for our winter savings promotion from 18 June to 12 July and get everything you need to make winter a little warmer. From heaters, firewood and anthracite to Giza blankets, paint and insulation, plus friendly advice, helpful service and jog dog food for only 398 Rand. Less shivering, more living, much better plan for the whole family. Chamberlain, famous for hardware since 1903.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. National Treasury has frozen July grant payments to more than 60 municipalities across South Africa over financial mismanagement and governance failures. It says the decision is aimed at protecting public funds and enforcing accountability after the municipalities failed to meet legal and financial management requirements. The longest list of affected municipalities is in the Free State, the Northwest and Northern Cape provinces, where many rely heavily on national government transfers to stay afloat. Annelita Fandesa reports.
National Treasury says the municipalities have been given sufficient notice in writing and urged to take measures to change their financial management positions ahead of the withholding of funds. The department says municipalities can still secure the release of the withheld funds if they comply with specific conditions, including submitting recovery plans and addressing the shortcomings identified by Treasury. The move comes as several municipalities continue to battle mounting debt, poor service delivery, and weak financial controls. Treasury has published the criteria to be followed before the grants can be released. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
In Gauteng, the provincial government has promised that taps will stay on for residents in Lesedi local municipality following a deadly service delivery protest. 2 people died last week during clashes with police when residents were protesting over water outages in Ratanda, southeast of Johannesburg. Provincial government and municipal representatives and Rand Water have now agreed to address the municipality's financial crisis and water debt. Kosikona Malingamnisi reports.
The Gauteng government says as part of the agreement, Rand Water's previously implemented 20% reduction in water supply will remain suspended while the recovery process gets underway. A multidisciplinary technical team has been given 7 days to produce a comprehensive financial and operational recovery plan. The report will assess the municipality's financial position, revenue collection systems, water losses, infrastructure metering, and sustainable options to repay historical debt while maintaining reliable water services. During the meeting, Lesedi municipality attributed its financial difficulties to declining revenue following reduced industrial activity, poor revenue collection, rising numbers of indigent households, and increasing operational costs. Stakeholders also condemned recent violence and damage to property linked to the water disruptions, urging residents to raise their concerns peacefully while government works towards a lasting solution. Kosikona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
In another development, suspected crime boss Vusumuzi Cat Matlala's testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry has been postponed to next Wednesday. Matlala was subpoenaed to respond to allegations against him today, but his legal team has asked for additional time to prepare his statement. The commission has granted Matlala the requested break, but it's ordered him to submit his written statement by the end of tomorrow. Commission Chair Mbuyiseli Madlanga has told Matlala, who appeared briefly virtually this morning, that he should use this time to ensure that he's ready for next Wednesday.
Mr. Matlala, the hearing of your testimony is postponed to 15 July 2026.
Correct.
That's 1. 2, your statement must be filed by tomorrow.
And the Board of Healthcare Funders that represents private medical aid schemes has heard that its litigation against the National Health Insurance could drag on for at least a decade. With several cases lodged by various organizations across the country's courts, the BHF's lead attorney on the matter, Neil Kirby, says the cases are worth pursuing because of the impacts the NHI could have on the quality of healthcare. In May, the Constitutional Court heard arguments in the BHF's case challenging the public participation aspects of Parliament's passing the NHI bill. Lindsay Dentlinker has more.
BHF lawyer Neil Kirby has told the organization's annual conference that at issue is not the principle of universal access to healthcare, but the standard at which that healthcare will be provided.
We have to get this right from a legal point of view. Otherwise, it's a slippery slope from the application of a constitution like ours.
Meanwhile, Wits University School of Public Health Professor Sharon Fon says while the proposed NHI fund in its current form has shortcomings, legal challenges are not the way to resolve them.
I think that we lack the kind of leadership we need to move this forward, and that's my point. Let's get out of the courts. Let's get round a table. This is a policy process.
Health economist Paula Armstrong has warned that the ever-rising cost of private health insurance is making it increasingly more unaffordable for the working class, forcing them to turn to public health care. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $4,126.91 an ounce. The rand is at 16.26 to the dollar, 21.75 to the pound, 18.57 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.99 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got roadworks taking place in Boksburg along the N17 West. This is between Rondebolt Road and Carnival City. While travelling on the M1 South, queuing traffic between College Drive and Ethel Oaklands Road. That's due to an earlier accident.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EW and this hour. National Treasury has frozen July grant payments to more than 60 municipalities over financial mismanagement and governance failures.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
On Sunday, 26 July, 7:02 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk unites us all in the iconic Joburg CBD. 7:02 Walk the Talk. Abize bonke. Enter now on primemediaplus.com.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 7:02.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702, and thank you for your contributions on the 702 open line. So, we're going to change things a little bit on the show today. So, I told you, well, in the open line, you and I were discussing Feroz Khan and some of the shocking evidence that's come out of the Madlanga Commission yesterday. Well, I see now that Chaskalson, the evidence leader, has just started a new bundle of evidence, which involves Feroz Khan, Saeed, and the EFF leader Julius Malema. And I think this is going to be such important evidence. So I'm going to change things a little bit. I know I promised we'll speak to certain people this hour. Maybe I'll bring them up towards the end of the hour. But I want to take you to the Madlanga Commission now, so that you can hear for yourself the evidence that's coming out against Feroz Khan, which implicates, it appears, or we'll hear whether it does, the leader of the EFF, Julius Malema. But at 11 o'clock, remember, we're going to do our World of Work feature. And today we're going to talk about how to regularize domestic workers. And on our health and wellness feature, the focus today is on understanding congestion. 8 minutes now after 10.
You're with Clement Manyathela.
7:02.
All right, let's go straight to the Madlanga Commission now, where evidence leader Chaskalson is leading evidence about Feroz Khan, Saeed, and Julius Malema.
When are they sending the questions? And he says at 65977 at 12 June 2021, 8:49, but I think it's been sent already. He then responds to General Khan's message saying, this will get him to lie and then we can get him removed. And he says, absolutely, he's going to deny it and then he's effed. Bye-bye P, ... And General Khan agrees with the abusive description of the Inspector General, says big P. Mr. Syed then says, when is it going to be fired off to them? And what we see later is that this is in fact a message that he has sent to Mr. Malema, which he's now forwarding to General Khan. The response is tomorrow. General Khan says they must fix up the spelling of drug in paragraph 1. In other words, Mr. Marumutu is a drug lord, not a drag lord. And he then, responding to when it's going to be fired off, and tomorrow, he says, thanks, bro, much appreciated. And Mr. Syed then sends a screenshot of his exchanges with Mr. Malema, which show that the formulation of the question to the Inspector General of Intelligence came from Mr. Malema. That's the top of the screenshot. Paragraph 2, have you had any discussions with Timmy Marimutu regarding the removal of General Peter Jacobs as head of crime intelligence? If so, what security clearance gives Timmy Marimutu access to you as the Inspector General of Intelligence, particularly as it relates to discussions of crime intelligence matters? In fact, Mr. Syed, even before General Khan had picked up the drug lord problem, has already responded to Mr. Malema and said drug lord, not drag. And then Mr. Malema says the whole DR, I'm not sure what that relates to, but we then see a 2249 on the screenshot. And if we go back up, 2249 is what we see at 22:49 is when is it going to be fired off, and the answer comes tomorrow at 22:58. If we go back up to 5977 and we add the 2 hours to the UTC times, we see that when is it going to be fired off to them, it's recorded as 8:58 p.m. You add the 2 hours, it's 10:58, and tomorrow 10:58 as well. So he has forwarded that exchange with Mr. Malema immediately that it happens, and has then, for good measure, added the screenshot. The next episode in this process takes place on the 13th of June. And it takes place, it's on page 5980. And there, maybe scroll down a bit before and there, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a message about the progress of the questions. He says, Parliament will probably only process them on Monday, but they process them and then send to respective ministers and institutions. A week later, at 6002, we're now on the 20th of June, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a screenshot from Mr. Malema. And what the screenshot shows is that Mr. Sayed asks Mr. Malema, brother, when are you back? Mr. Malema says, tomorrow. Mr. Sayed says, okay, let's meet tomorrow evening, please, with our general. Mr. Malema says, sharp, and there is an XAP response from Mr. Sayed. General Khan thanks Mr. Malema for setting up the meeting. So thanks Mr. Sayed for setting up the meeting with Mr. Malema. And Mr. Sayed says, you are my brew, no need to thank me. That is the 20th of June. Now, I want to clarify what our issue with that, there's actually a further step before I clarify my concerns about this process. If we go down to 6005, we see at 21 June 2021, which is the day after that screenshot was sent to General Khan, the day on which the meeting was going to happen, Mr. Sayed sends to General Khan a letter to the Minister of Police. That letter is in the exhibit bundle at page 298. And it is on the EFF letterhead. It is addressed to Mr. Beki Cele, Minister of Police, and it asks the questions about the minister's relationship with Mr. Tumi Marumutu, who's described as drug lord Tumi Marumutu, and crime intelligence matters. It asks those questions in the same terms verbatim as were forwarded to General Khan by Mr. Sayed on the 11th of June. It's the extract bundle, I think it's called. Is it? Annexures bundle.
Got it. Exhibits is fine. There are two sets of exhibit bundles. That's why we were confused, by the way.
And if we look at that question that was posed to the Minister of Police, it is, apart from cleaning up the spelling errors, so a drag lord becomes drug lord and intelligence is spelt correctly, it is verbatim the same as the question that was forwarded to General Khan by Mr. Sayed on the 11th of June.
Does the letter precede or come after the chats? I'm just looking at the dates.
So the letter in draft form that was forwarded from Mr. Sayed to General Khan was forwarded on the 11th of June. The letter itself that was sent to Minister Pele is dated 17 June, and it is provided to General Khan by Mr. Sayed on 21 June, which is the date on which, according to the screenshot, General Khan, Mr. Sayed, and Mr. Malema were going to meet. I want to clarify an issue here. The issue that we as evidence leaders raise with this process is not that General Khan raised questions about the relationship between the Inspector General and an alleged drug dealer. What the issue is that the chats suggest that the primary purpose of General Khan in raising the issues in the way that he did was to trick the then Inspector General of Intelligence, Dr. Dintwe, into lying, so that if he did lie, he could be removed from his position, a position in which he was exercising oversight over General Khan. And if General Khan had been genuinely concerned about the relationship between Dr. Dintwe and Mr. Marimutu, we would have expected him to take the issue up through the appropriate channels. Instead, what he did was he used his relationship with an alleged tobacco smuggler to plant questions to the Inspector General through the EFF in the hope of trapping the Inspector General in a lie to Parliament. That was what his purpose was. There is a secondary concern, and the secondary concern is that this process suggests that something of a quid pro quo was taking place, if we look at the chronology. We've already seen that immediately preceding the exchanges relating to the Inspector General, a day before, literally a day before General Khan formulated his draft question, a message had been communicated by Mr. Sayed to General Khan, ostensibly on behalf of Mr. Malema and apparently asking for the arrest of persons making threats to foreign nationals on behalf of Operation Dudula. That took place on the 10th of June, that message, that series of messages. General Khan on the 11th sends his message suggesting a question to the Inspector General. And while I commend Mr. Malema for his stance against xenophobic lawlessness, the chats suggest that General Khan saw this as an opportunity to use Mr. Malema's position within the EFF to attempt to trick the Inspector General into a lie that may provide a basis for having him removed. So Mr. Malema sends essentially a complaint about a threat of lawless action by Operation Dudula on the 10th and calls for action to be taken. The next day, General Khan writes back with a question for the Inspector General. It has the appearance of a quid pro quo. There is a...
Sorry, what are we to make of the use of a conduit or a third party in these exchanges?
the use of the conduit is problematic in its own right. And if we go further, because there are further concerns about quid pro quo, where the use of the conduit becomes particularly problematic. But it seems to me that that if General Khan is genuinely wanting questions raised in Parliament, he has appropriate means of doing that without using conduits. And certainly if he wants Mr. Malema to post questions, he should be asking Mr. Malema directly. It may be that at this stage he didn't have a line of direct communication to Mr. Malema. That looks to be the case because, as we'll see later, a few months after this, Mr. Sayed gives him contact details for Mr. Malema. But Mr. Sayed's role in all of this is very problematic. Mr. Sayed belongs to a company which, on its own admission, has been engaged in fraudulent and corrupt activity historically, which is alleged to, and tax evasion, and which is alleged to be continuing to do it at the time that this is happening. And he's not an appropriate person for General Khan to be engaging with in relation to matters of this nature, whatever their personal relationship. But I do want to turn to the other issues in relation to quid pro quo, because we've looked at one part of the chronology.
Just Carlson, before you do that, it seems to me that a further issue of concern may be, at least on the face of it, that General Khan may well have obtained the information behind these questions by virtue of his position, and then he's using information that he would have, if there's any truth to what is posed, and which the Inspector General is expected to lie about, there's that possibility that he would have obtained this information by virtue of his position as an intelligence police officer, and then he's using that information inappropriately.
Inspector Baloy, we've been trying to Inspector Baloy, Commissioner Baloy, we've been trying to locate former Inspector General Dintwe to get a statement to explain this. We haven't yet been able to get a statement from him, but what we have seen is a press report purporting to quote him on this issue. And what he says is that he and General Khan together had a meeting with Mr. Marimutu, in which event what this process would have been about is not about General Khan using his crime intelligence surveillance capacities to find something out about the Inspector General, but actually having had a meeting with the Inspector General and Mr. Marimutu, and hoping that because he wasn't present at the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence when pushed in relation to an issue regarding Mr. Marimutu, the Inspector General would lie. So I'm not sure that your concern is present, but again, we have to get the full story from the former Inspector General, and in due course we hope to do so.
Mr. Carlson, it would still be improper. Leave aside the EFF and leave aside what Mr. Sayed does for a living. If General Khan was in this meeting with the Inspector General and Mr. Marimutu, those are crime intelligence issues that are sensitive. They are not to be shared with just anybody, whether they are your friends or acquaintances. Leave aside what they do for a living. Leave aside the political party, just that aspect.
No, I take that absolutely. Commissioner Kumalo.
But Inspector Kumalo.
But there is another serious concern about quid pro quo if we look back at the chronology. We've looked at a process that runs from 10 June, when the Operation Dudula messages are sent, through to 21 June, when the letter to the Minister of Police is sent. In the middle of that process, on the 15th of June, if we go to page 5990, we come to the Santon case number that I have mentioned previously. And there we see that it's now 4 days after General Khan has sent his draft question to the Inspector General, to Mr. Malema through Mr. Sayed. Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a request from Mr. Malema. And that is at the message on page 5990 at message time 1207 on the 15th of June, where Mr. Sayed forwards the message, need to know the complaint in case number Santon case 79/07/2019, and says Juju Brew. And General Khan says, okay, thanks. Now, if we go to the next page, General Khan responds very promptly. What he's done is he's got onto the SAPS computerized database of cases, and he sends what looks like a photograph or a screenshot from that database, which identifies who the complainant is in that case. And we see that at the top of 5991. Now, and that screen that we see, which he sends to Mr. Sayed, identifies the complainant as Mr. Ruplal. And Mr. Sayed thanks him for it, and then for good measure, General Khan sends through not only Mr. Ruplal's name, which appears from the screen, but also his address, which wasn't even asked for. Now, Mr. Ruplal was the curator of the VBS Bank. And that case, Santon case 76/07/2019, was a case that he had instituted in relation to frauds concerning the VBS Bank. Now, Mr. Malema has been implicated in the VBS Bank scandal. He is implicated in the plea explanation affidavit of the former VBS chair, Mr. Matodzi, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to an effective 15 years of imprisonment for his role in the scandal. He stated in his plea explanation affidavit that in an attempt to buy protection, political protection from the EFF for VBS, when inquiries were starting to be made in relation to VBS, in an attempt to buy political protection from the EFF, he had paid bribes of millions of rands to Mr. Malema and to Mr. Floyd Shivambu in the guise of making donations to the EFF. The relevant extract from the affidavit of Mr. Matodzi is at the exhibit bundle, page 300 to 301. Don't propose to read it because that's been the subject of separate investigations. But what it shows is that Mr. Malema's concern about this case number was because it related to an issue whether rightly or wrongly someone was implicating him. And getting the name of the complainant in that case was not something to which Mr. Malema was entitled, and was not something which General Khan was entitled to provide, still less the address of the complainant. And happening when it did, in the midst of this exchange in relation to questions to the Inspector General, which General Khan wanted Mr. Malema to organize, it has very much the appearance of a favor in return for a favor, an illegal favor in return for a favor.
Yeah, okay. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. And then when we come back, I have to take you back there because what's coming out is important. That's that intersection of politics, crime intelligence, friendship, because these people are trying to exchange favors here. Because clearly, Firoz Khan wanted the Inspector General, Mr. Dintle, to be fired or to be suspended. That's why he was sending those questions to Malema for the EFF to ask in Parliament in a particular way that's going to implicate Dintle. But also, Malema was asking for favors from this crime intelligence boss. Like, give me a case number of the person who complained about me in the VBS matter. Like, that's quite problematic because the person obviously implicated Julius Malema. And now Julius says to a crime intelligence officer, because if you're asking that from a crime intelligence officer, you're saying do it secretly, nobody must know. Otherwise, you go to the police, you find out the details of the case. It's 10:32. After the latest in our Eyewitness News headlines, we'll take you back as Matthew Chaskalson continues to lead evidence involving Khan, Saeed, and Julius Malema. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. National Treasury has frozen July grant payments to more than 60 municipalities across the country over financial mismanagement and governance failures. It says the decision is aimed at protecting public funds and enforcing accountability after the municipalities failed to meet legal and financial management requirements. And as the Madlanga Commission continues this morning, suspected crime boss Vusmuzi Kat Matlala's testimony has been postponed to next Wednesday. Matlala was subpoenaed to respond to allegations against him today, but his legal team has asked for additional time to prepare his statement. The commission has granted Matlala the requested break, but has ordered him to submit his written statement by the end of tomorrow. And police in Kenya say they will not allow a planned march in Nairobi to mark an annual day of protests. Demonstrations have traditionally been held on July 7th to commemorate the day in 1990 when Kenyans rose up to demand a return of multi-party democracy after years of autocratic rule. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traffic remains heavily backed up on the N17 West, that's between Osborne Road and the R21 turnoff, that's due to roadworks there. While travelling in El Dorado Park, please be on the lookout for delays on Golden Highway, this is between Union Avenue and East Street. While heading towards Amalgam, queuing traffic on the M2 West, this is between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. And then in Sharonly, we still have got delays on Malibongwe Drive approaching President Fouché Road, that's due to faulty traffic lights there. There's also a bit of a hold-up reported in four ways along Winnie Mandela Drive approaching Leslie Avenue. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Demonials.
It's the flavor!
Real reviews by real people. Nico from Kailami is in touch with his emotions. So when we asked about the Nando's Peri Peri half chicken and a single side for only $125, he said,
I'm sad. I finished it.
Ah, Nikos, ungawari. Because this chicken season has more episodes. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
Hi, this is Michael Owen, Hollywood Bets brand ambassador. Being a champion, I know the best performances come from making the right decisions on and off the pitch. Enjoy the game, enjoy the excitement, but play responsibly. Gambling responsibly is about staying in control so you can enjoy it your way. If you or someone you know needs support, help is always available. Call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counselling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
As a business owner, you're always looking for ways to save money. But have you looked at saving on your business insurance premium? With Outsurance Business Insurance, you could save big, like Bosmansdam High School.
We were with our previous insurance for 10 years plus before switching to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We are saving 3,705 Rand per month.
It was so quick and easy, we should have switched sooner.
Ready to switch and save? Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
702.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 24 minutes now before 11 o'clock, and this hour, what we've done is take you to the Madlanga Commission, where the evidence leader, Senior Counsel Chaskalson, has been leading evidence involving Firoz Khan, Saeed, and Julius Malema. I think they're on to the next batch of evidence, which takes you through the conversation between the three individuals. And what I'm picking up here as a trend is you can see that Khan was interacting with Julius Malema through Saeed. And they were probably doing that to be cautious, right? Because you don't want the direct line between this top crime intelligence officer and this top politician, Julius Malema. So they're speaking through Saeed. That's why certain information and questions are sent to Saeed and then to Khan, back to Saeed, from Khan, then to Julius Malema. And what has come out so far in this hour is that, one, there are questions that Khan was sending to Julius Malema through Saeed to ask the then Inspector General of Intelligence in Parliament, Mr. Dintle. And those questions were engineered and structured in a way that would get Mr. Dintle to sort of implicate himself. So they're asking him, for instance, do you know, have you ever sat down with a drug dealer? Without giving context, right? And if you say yes, then already your image sort of gets tainted and people are going to call on you to resign. Like, why are you sitting down with drug dealers? You're the Inspector General of Intelligence. But actually, if you get the context, this is something that happens a while back. There was context around it because the person was either about to be charged or Dintle was trying to get more information. So it wasn't because these people were having a beer and enjoying themselves. But the way that Khan structured the question, which was exactly the way it was asked in Parliament, seems to have been to sort of trap the Inspector General of Intelligence. So was the EFF used by General Khan to somehow get the Inspector General of Intelligence to be taken off the books? Because remember, the Inspector General of Intelligence was investigating Khan at the time. There are questions that he had raised about General Khan. Now, the other thing is that Julius Malema then asks for, I think, a case number from Firoz Khan through Saeed. But that's a case number that involves a matter that he's implicated in. He didn't ask the police that question. He goes to a top crime intelligence officer, which means off the books. Why? And you're trying to get information about someone who, Matodzi. Remember, Matodzi filed an affidavit implicating Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambui and how he paid them bribes for political protection for VBS. So that's what's come out so far. So let me take you back now as Matthew Chaskalson continues leading that evidence.
July, General Khan asks Mr. Sayed to hold off informing Mr. Malema on the 30th of July. That seems to have changed after the disciplinary problems leaked to the media on the 2nd of August, and then he WhatsApps the picture of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed to Mr. Sayed. If we go to page 6240 and look at the sequence, 6240 is the story leaking on the 2nd of August. 6244 is General Khan forwarding the picture of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed to Mr. Sayed on the 3rd of August. And if we go down to 6245, on the same day that General Khan forwards the picture of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed to Mr. Sayed, Mr. Sayed returns a message which relates to a tender for fleet management services submitted by a company called Bertobrite, Bertobrite, to the State Information Technology Agency, SETA. And underneath that, he says, Juju sent me. General Khan says what he needs here, what does he need? And Mr. Sayed says, I think he wants us to do it. In other words, we infer, I think he wants us to do this tender for him. So we have...
But where is the for him part, Mr. Chaskalson? I mean, I think he wants us to do it. I get that part.
Or for Bertobrite, because it's Bertobrite's tender. It's not a tender that's put in by a company of Mr. Sayed or Mr. Or General Khan. It's for Bertobrite. And of course, the question is, what is the relationship between Bertobrite and Mr. Malema?
That part I get. The part I don't get is for you to say he wants us to do it for him. That's the part
for
that
Bertobrite. The issue in relation to Bertobrite is that by this stage, August 2021, Bertobrite has already appeared in the press in relation to an allegedly corrupt tender that it procured in Tshwane on the basis of paying amounts to the EFF. I'll find my reference. I don't have it to hand here, but it is in the exhibit bundle. Let me just quickly look. Yeah, it's page 303 of the exhibits bundle, where there is an article entitled "Businessman Who Captured Tshwane Fleet Department Had a Man on the Inside." It's dated 26 February 2020. It relates to a Bertobrite it relates to a tender in Tshwane by Mr. Khanyago, who is linked to Bertobrite, and who is alleged to have paid 15 million to 3 companies linked to EFF leader Mr. Malema.
The article seems to mention a different company of Mr. Khanyago, Mr. Chaskalson. Reading very quickly, sorry, I might be missing it.
No, you are right. It refers to Balimi Barui Trading, BBT. I will get the connection to Mr. Khanyago and Bertobrite. We don't have it in this bundle. But if we go back to the sequence, we see again a situation where General Khan appears to be looking for the support of Mr. Malema in his disciplinary matters through Mr. Sayed. And through Mr. Sayed, Mr. Malema is communicating a wish that General Khan and Mr. Sayed will assist with the Bertobrite tender. Now, in advance of this evidence, notices were issued to, among others, Mr. Sayed, General Fani, and Mr. Malema, indicating that they may be implicated in relation to some of the evidence concerning General Khan. Mr. Malema did respond to that notice, unlike Mr. Sayed and General Fani. The notice that was served on Mr. Malema is to be found at page 283. And as Mr. Malema did respond to that notice, I think, in fairness, we should read out his response into this record so that his response is there for the public to see. It may make, because the response is a response to the notice, it probably makes sense to start with the notice at 283. And the notice says, it's headed in terms of Rule 3 of the Rules of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, you're hereby given notice that on 6 June 2026, the Commission's investigator, Mr. Tsepo Nyatlo, submitted an affidavit in the Gauteng High Court under case number, and the case number is given, in response to an urgent application brought by Major General Feroz Khan. This affidavit referenced certain WhatsApp chats between Mr. Mohammed Sayed and General Khan. Referenced certain WhatsApp chats between Mr. Mohammed Sayed and General Khan in the years 2020 to 2023 that were extracted from General Khan's cellular mobile device. The affidavit will be canvassed when General Khan testifies at the Commission from 1 July and refers to chats that implicate you in matters under investigation by the Commission, in particular as follows. And then 6 potential implications are listed. The first is that in June 2021, you, General Khan, and Mr. Sayed seemingly conspired to orchestrate the removal of the then Inspector General of Intelligence, Dr. Dintwe. 1.2, that through Mr. Sayed, you sought and obtained confidential information from General Khan in relation to a criminal case that had been opened against you in Sandton, and the case numbers given. Specifically, you were provided with the name and physical address of the complainant in the matter. The case concerned the VBS bank scandal in which you are alleged to have received bribes from the chair of the bank. 1.3. On 30 July 2021, Mr. Sayed asked General Khan if he could forward to you a disciplinary notice that General Khan had received. The appearance was that you would be of assistance. On 3 August 2021, Mr. Sayed forwarded to General Khan details of the company Berta Bright that had bid for a tender for fleet management for SAPS. He stated that it came from Juju and said, "I think he wants us to do it." In July 2021, there were allegations in the media that Berta Bright secured a fuel tender in the city of Tshwane by paying bribes to the EFF. 1.5. On 5 September 2021, Mr. Sayed sent General Khan a voice note in which he stated the following, quotes, "Juju called me now. He said that your things are coming along very, very nicely. It's moving along very rapidly, but just give him some time, but it's going to happen for sure." 1.6. On 22 September 2021, Mr. Sayed sent General Khan a message of support from Mr. Malema in relation to his disciplinary proceedings, quotes, "I forgot to tell you that you called me, said you will not ever resign, no matter what, this is a fight and we will emerge victorious." The details of the allegations and the chats themselves are set out in Mr. Nyatlo's affidavit and annexures to the affidavit, the relevant extracts of which are attached here too as Annexure A. And then paragraph 4 was giving 10 days to file the statement.
All right, so we're going to come out of that to take a quick ad break. I think what they're doing now is explain what they wrote to Julius Malema, because, as you've heard, they did send him a notice to say that you're likely to be implicated in the testimony of Feroz Khan, and he may as well be asked to give his side of the story, give him an opportunity to explain. So let's take a quick ad break because they're explaining what they said to Malema, which we already know. And then when we come back, we'll take you back. And maybe they'll tell us how Malema responded to that notice that the commission sent.
No road, no traffic, just your team, a stationary bike, and 25 minutes to make an impact. The CEO Cycle Challenge 2026 is back, and businesses are invited to enter a team of 4 for a high-energy studio cycling challenge at Woodmead from 31 August to 4 September 2026. Ride in support of education and opportunity for talented South African children, while giving your business the chance to connect with other leaders. Entries are now open. Visit ceochallenge.co.za and enter your team today. CEO Cycle Challenge 2026.
Sure, they aced it. The Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi Advantage is back at Amex Tennistown Monte Casino between 11 and 12 July 2026. Enjoy VIP hospitality, the ultimate big screen experience, a kids fun zone, and so much more. Buy your tickets now on Howler and get 50% off on limited tickets when you use your Amex card. Tennis is better with Amex. American Express Cards is operated under license in South Africa by Nedbank, a licensed financial services and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
In a world of noise, one thing is still clear. Akwele. Introducing the new, still-flavored range from Akwele. Lemon mint, mango passion fruit, blueberry raspberry, peach apricot. Still made from Akwele's 100% natural spring water. Delicious, high in vitamins, low in kilojoules, and still full of joy. It's new, it's refreshing, it's flavored. It's still Akwele.
Your voice.
Your questions.
Your morning radio with Clement Manyathela.
This is 702.
7 minutes before 11 o'clock. All right, at the Madlanga Commission, they're now reading Julius Malema's response. Let's take a listen.
Commission rules brackets notice, in terms of which he provided me with an opportunity to respond thereto if I so elect. I so elect. Save where otherwise stated, the facts set out herein are within my personal knowledge and are to the best of my belief both true and correct. Where I make submissions of a legal nature, I do so on the advice of my legal representatives. I've been invited to respond to a vermins contained in an extract of Mr. Tsepo Nyatlow's affidavit, which supposedly implicate me. As a starting point, the evidence of material alleged to implicate me in Mr. Nyatlow's affidavit are largely purported extracts of communications between Major General Feroz Khan, General Khan, and Mr. Mohammed Sayed, Mr. Sayed. I evidently cannot confirm whether these extracts are a true recordal of their engagements or the authenticity of those extracts. Only they can. I do not understand the Commission to require me to so confirm. I simply record this point to note that my response will be curtailed to claims that are in my personal knowledge and relate to me. Ad seriatim response to Mr. Nyatlow's affidavit. Add paragraph 55, and the Commission will recall that paragraph 55 concerned the Carney Links relationship with EFF. It wasn't an issue specifically identified in paragraphs 1.1 to 1.6 of the notice. Mr. Malema's response is the following. I do not see how the contents of this paragraph implicate me. It is also not apparent in the notice and Mr. Nyatlow's affidavit extract. This matters because I was required to respond to material that implicates me. This is a proper qualification by the Commission, lest I'm asked to deal with personal material that falls outside the terms of reference of the Commission's work and having no bearing on its fact-finding mission. Absent clarity on how I am implicated by this paragraph, I am in no position to meaningfully respond in my defense. I'm uncertain whether the very claimed facts in this paragraph implicate me per se, or that the Commission will draw inferences therefrom. This applies with equal force in respect of the other aspects of Mr. Nyatlow's affidavit, save where the context or language itself clearly implicate in relation to the terms of reference of this Commission. The contents of these paragraphs are nonetheless factual claims. Save with inaccuracies, I will correct momentarily that I have voluntarily stated in the public domain since the inception of the EFF. As an example, I voluntarily stated at the EFF 10th year celebration event, which was perhaps the most widely publicized EFF event, that Mr. Mazzotti, who is the CEO of Carnelinks, donated funds that helped register the EFF. It is also a matter of public record that my wife used to reside at a property that is in the same complex precinct at Mr. Mazzotti under a lease agreement, which is underlined. I place underlining emphasis under lease agreement as correctly recorded in Mr. Nyatlo's affidavit, in contrast to other media reports and claims that I stayed there gratuitously. Add paragraphs 57 to 65. Paragraph 9, I deny that I conspired to orchestrate the removal of Dr. Dintwe. Paragraph 10, in any event, I regularly receive information from various sources, some covert, some public, that relates to my work as a Member of Parliament. This paragraph is not an invitation to me. Some come from private citizens and some from public officials like the police. As a case in point, I have met with General Mkhwanazi, who shared with me the investigations about the murder of a popular artist known as AKA. It is my concern, and indeed my interest, to receive information about the working of our public service officials who I have a task of holding to account. Nothing is or could be implicating, if nothing more than receiving assistance of how to hold a public official accountable is proffered. Be that as it may, I do not have knowledge of the exchanges between Mr. Sayed and General Khan. I deny any inference to the contents of these paragraphs to the extent that they infer any unlawful conduct on my part. To the best of my knowledge, I deny any Berta-Bright bribery of the EFF.
All right, so that's the response of Julius Malema that's being read out at the Madlanga Commission. It's 2 minutes now before 11.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Nyati, quite direct, I thought, in naming your organization. You're its CEO. How do you respond to that?
The irony here is extraordinary.
Okay.
We are being accused of political interference because we are asking government to implement government's own public stated policy. Really? Business has been one of ESCOM's strongest supporters, and we are not going to keep quiet.
Wassasio Mavuso, the CEO of Business Leadership South Africa.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Rewards. Get double cash back depending on your rewards tier when an African team scores and wins at the FIFA World Cup 2026, courtesy of Visa. Use your Absa Visa card at rewards partners on match days to score. Join Absa Rewards on the banking app. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The countdown to Food Forward SA's Mandela Day Packing Event 2026 has begun. Join us Friday, 17 July, and spend your 67 minutes making a real difference. Together, we'll pack and sort groceries that will feed thousands of people facing food insecurity across South Africa. Be part of the action. Tickets are on sale now at webtickets.co.za. Food Forward SA, securing quality food, nourishing lives, in association with 702.
702 Josie, my Josie Walk the Talk is calling on you to walk with the people for the people on Sunday, the 26th of July. Babiza Bonke. And this year, you can choose from 3 different inner city routes. The 5-kilometer Victoria Yards route takes you from Ellis Park through the inspirational Joburg Cricket Club into Victoria Yards and past the Troyville Hotel, and then finish off at Ellis Park. So whether you're taking on the 5-kilometer, 8-kilometer or 15-kilometer route, enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the city of Joburg.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. EFF leader Julius Malema's apparent relationship with tainted crime intelligence cop Feroz Khan is finally being exposed at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. The commission has today focused on WhatsApp messages between Khan and tobacco businessman Mo Sayed, showing that the two were linked to the EFF leader. It's emerged that Sayed often acted as the middleman between Khan and Malema. Khan's evidence is being presented in his absence today as he remains hospitalized after he was shot last month. Alfara Mushwana has more.
WhatsApp messages screened at the Madlanga Commission show that senior crime intelligence officer Feroz Khan did not communicate directly with EFF leader Julius Malema, but instead relayed messages through businessman Mo Sayed. The messages also show that in 2021, Khan drafted questions for the EFF to put to Inspector General of Intelligence Isaac Dintwe during his parliamentary appearance. Evidence leader Matthew Chaskelson says the questions appeared to be designed to lure Dintwe into implicating himself during his appearance before Parliament.
In the midst of this exchange in relation to questions to the Inspector General, which General Khan wanted Mr. Malema to organize, it has very much the appearance of an illegal favor in return for a favor.
Khan also sent questions to Malema via Sayed, asking the EFF leader to raise them in Parliament with then Police Minister Bheki Cele. The questions sought to establish whether Cele personally knew convicted drug dealer Timi Marimutu. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
National Treasury has frozen July grant payments to more than 60 municipalities across South Africa over financial mismanagement and governance failures. It says the decision is aimed at protecting public funds and enforcing accountability after the municipalities failed to meet legal and financial management requirements. The longest list of affected municipalities is in the Free State, the Northwest and Northern Cape provinces, where many rely heavily on national government transfers to stay afloat. Anelita Fandese reports.
National Treasury says the municipalities have been given sufficient notice in writing and urged to take measures to change their financial management positions ahead of the withholding of funds. The department says municipalities can still secure the release of the withheld funds if they comply with specific conditions, including submitting recovery plans and addressing the shortcomings identified by Treasury. The move comes as several municipalities continue to battle mounting debt, poor service delivery, and weak financial controls. Treasury has published the criteria to be followed before the grants can be released. Anelita Fandese, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, this is another major blow for the financially strapped city of Johannesburg. The move comes just days after the city's assets were attached by the sheriff over unpaid debts, leading to the temporary closure of its flagship customer services centre. The Metro confirmed yesterday that it has since settled the debts and is working with the sheriff to ensure that the centre, handling thousands of customer accounts, is reopened without any further delay. Kosikona Malingam Nisi reports.
National Treasury has placed the Metro among scores of municipalities whose July equitable share transfers will be temporarily withheld for persistent failures in financial management. Treasury says the decision follows serious and continued non-compliance with the Municipal Finance Management Act despite repeated interventions, guidance and engagements. It insists the move is designed to enforce fiscal discipline and hold municipal leaders accountable rather than punish residents. While the city continues to speak of a financial turnaround, its inclusion on Treasury's watch list raises fresh questions about whether those assurances are matched by the state of its finances. Or see Kona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
And police in Kenya say they will not allow a planned march in Nairobi to mark an annual day of protests. Demonstrations have traditionally been held on the 7th of July to commemorate the day in 1990 when Kenyans rose up to demand a return to multi-party democracy after years of autocratic rule. Over the past 2 years, the day has merged with broader protests against the government of President William Ruto and accused of corruption, economic mismanagement and police violence. At least 38 people died across Kenya and hundreds were arrested in protest in July 7th last year. This year, the government has taken no chances, using heavy police deployments to prevent even small gatherings. Gold is trading at $4,126.91 an ounce. The rand is at 16.26 to the dollar, 21.75 to the pound, 18.57 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $72.99 a barrel.
And in the traffic in Alexandra, there's been an accident on the N3 North. It happened right after Marlborough Drive. It's causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. While traveling on the M2 West, we still have got delays towards Amalgam between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road and heading towards Boyson. Some delays approaching Boyson's Road along the M1 South.
A fine day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 20 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, EFF leader Julius Malema's apparent relationship with tainted crime intelligence cop Feroz Khan is finally being exposed at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Visit primemediaplus.com to enter 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Josie.
For Joburg, by Joburg, in Joburg.
Babize bonke.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Minutes after 11 o'clock, Dumelang. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. I've just been watching the spokesperson of the Madlanga Commission, Jeremy Michaels, who is currently doing a live briefing, chatting to journalists about the possible extension of the commission, and he's just confirmed that they are in engagement with the presidency to try and see if they can extend the time of the commission. Remember, they were supposed to be done on the 31st of August. He says they're still working towards sort of that deadline because, in fact, what they wanted to do in August is write the final report. So finish off all the testimonies in the month of July. But he says because there's so much that they still need to get to. I mean, we've just heard now that they send a notice to Julius Malema and the businessman, Mr. Said, and there's still Feroz Khan to come. There's still Van Wyk to come. There's still Suleiman Karim to come and finish his testimony. Where is Hangwani Maumela? Are you telling me that the Madlanga Commission would end and finish its work without calling him to come and appear before it? That would be quite bizarre. So there's still a lot of work that the Madlanga Commission still needs to do, and the spokesperson, Jeremy Michaels, confirming now during that briefing with journalists that it's likely that they will get an extension because they are currently negotiating that with the presidency. Here's what some of you have said responding to the testimony, in fact, not a testimony, but the evidence that was led by senior counsel Chaskalson about Feroz Khan, Said, and the EFF leader Julius Malema. On the WhatsApp line, Tino7 says, "Hi Clement, I'm worried. Will the EFF supporters believe this information? They always defending their leader." Yeah, who knows? Let's wait and see how they're going to be responding to this. But my guess is they're going to start attacking somebody because how dare you? How dare you expose what has now been exposed about Julius Malema? They'll find a reason to justify it in some way or say there's nothing wrong with Julius receiving questions from a top crime intelligence head who wants to see the person who exercises oversight over him to be fired from their job. and then you send the questions, and those questions get asked exactly in the same way. And there's no question about, okay, why are you sending me these questions? What are you trying to get here? But also, Julius Malema also sending them tender documents for CETA with Bright, the Bright company. Why? He's got to explain that. Why are you sending that to Said? Funny enough, I saw a statement yesterday from the EFF about CETA. So why are you asking a top crime intelligence officer about a case number involving a matter that implicates you fundamentally? There are a lot of questions here, and hopefully they'll also get him to come and explain himself at the Madlanga Commission. Here's a WhatsApp voice note that's come through.
Good morning, Clement and the fellow listeners. Ooh, the Bomotse from the Madlanga Commission. Yay! Libo Julius Malema, they are implicated. And it's going to be very interesting. How does he respond to this? Is he going to call a press conference and deny everything or downplay it? Or saying, yeah, but as a politician, I have to talk to different people in different departments. But then, why was he protecting Khan? How is he benefiting from the shenanigans Khan? And why was Khan so quick to come and divulge information about whoever was complaining about illegal foreigners in the country? We know that Juju is a politician, and he politics is a numbers game. This is very interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is quite interesting. And sure, yeah. Hey, guys, did you see there's a witness M that's also going to testify at some point? And this witness M has written to the commission saying, I need to testify in camera because some of the stuff that I'm going to be revealing is actually going to implicate heads of state, terrorist organizations, politically linked individuals, drug syndicates, and more. That's the testimony we're going to get from witness M, who is set to testify on a drug bust. And the witness M wants to do that not in front of your screens, because this testimony is going to be quite impactful and detrimental to some heads of state and some politically linked individuals. When you think you've had it all at the Madlanga Commission, hey? Well, buckle up, everyone, because it's about to get tricky.
Good morning, Clement. It's Baron here from Alexander. Yeah, I'm so shocked about Feroz Khan, Julius Malema. I am an EFF supporter, but this is going to tarnish the image of our president, Julius Malema. I've got no words to say, really. I'm so flabbergasted. I don't know what to say. I've got no words. No words. Baron here from Alexander.
Hey, Baron.
Corruption. Thank you.
What I'm going to be looking out for now is, how are the EFF supporters going to respond to this? Like, are they going to go and attack? Are they just going to be silent and not say anything about it? Are they going to come up with justifications on, no, you have to understand that Julius, because as you heard, Julius' response to the commission is, I'm a member of Parliament. I get a lot of information that comes to me because I hold the public and the executive accountable, public officials and executives accountable. So there's nothing wrong with me having conversations with Feroz Khan. But my question then is, why did he send that screenshot or picture of a CETA tender? Why? To Said. I'm interested in the story behind that. I think that's going to be interesting. It's 15 minutes now after 11 o'clock. Time for our World of Work feature.
7:02.
World of Work.
So I want us to discuss on our World of Work feature this morning how to regularize domestic workers. South Africa has an estimated 1.6 million domestic workers, and yet the overwhelming majority of these employment relationships remain informal. No written contract, no UIF registration, no payslip, no documented proof of income. And for many households, this isn't a case of employers acting in bad faith. the compliance requirements around domestic employment have simply felt complicated, they're time consuming, and it's just easy to put off. So Ask Mandla is a WhatsApp first platform that is trying to close that gap by turning contracts, UIF registration, payroll, and pay slips into a simple WhatsApp conversation. And in its first year, their platform has actually processed more than 5 million rand in salaries and issued over 1,000 pay slips. And it has recently introduced end wage access, which then gives you as a worker a way to draw down money that you've already earned before payday. So I want to know from you how you've regularized your domestic worker. Do they have UIF registration? Have you looked at documentations? Is there a contract? How are you managing the relationship between you as an employer and your domestic worker? And if you're a domestic worker listening to us, do you have a contract? Like, have your employers registered you with the UIF? How have they regularized your employment? Give me a call on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Peter Adolphs is the co-founder and CEO at Ask Mandla, joining us on the line. Peter, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Clement, it's so nice to talk to you. You've done a fantastic job at introducing this. You've done my job for me.
Let's start with maybe the basics then. What does it actually mean to regularize domestic workers, and what are employers legally required to do?
It's actually pretty simple. It's three main things, and it's all old law. So it's a written contract under the BCEA. It's UIF if they work more than 24 hours a month or more. It's COIDA, so the Workplace Injury Fund, which is it's roughly about 560 rand a year, and then plus paying them the minimum wage and then giving them a real pay slip. So none of it's new. But what is new is, someone might actually finally check. That's kind of what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, and I was saying in my intro that there are a lot of families out there that do not regularize their domestic workers. And it's not because they're trying to somehow avoid legislation, but sometimes when you look at the compliance requirements around domestic employment, sometimes it looks a bit complicated. It's time consuming. So it's easy for families to just put off. Why is that the case, Peter? And how does your platform help us in regularizing that employment?
So, absolutely, it's really not a case of it's difficult, and it's not bad people. It's really a case of a broken on-ramp, in our opinion, right? So, the government portals are there, so the UIF portals, the COIDA portals are there. They're set up, but they for example run identity checks and records that are often out of date, and and then they fail. And it just sends you a message saying email us the form. So what we've done is set up a system that makes it very easy to do. So it's easy as a conversation, a WhatsApp conversation. And cheap, so it's not supposed to cost a lot. So we've built that infrastructure. We've created the platforms to send off the required documentation to the right places and make sure that all the follow-ups are happening. And then we make sure that everybody has facilitated through a WhatsApp conversation. They've got a contract in place, all signed digitally. We then manage the payroll on behalf of the employer. So, and as well as the UIF contributions. And then very importantly, we send both parties a pay slip every single month, which is obviously a very important one. And we do all the other things like tracking leave and all of that, but it's all conversational. It happens within a WhatsApp, a very clever WhatsApp agent, and it's simple, and it only costs you 49 rand a month.
I see. So I think one of the things I was just thinking about as I was preparing for this conversation is just even the mindset of many South African families out there, because many of us think of domestic workers as sort of like part of the family, right?
Sure.
And I wonder how that kind of mindset get in the way of formal employment practices. Sure. Because you've got someone, auntie who that and that, uncle that and that, and that gets in the way of actually treating that person as a formal employee, which then requires all these compliance processes.
100%. So, and it comes from a good place, right? But what we say is, family doesn't get a payslip. An employee gets a payslip. So when things are good, you feel being part of the family feels kind. But when that person gets injured, or when you immigrate, or when there's a falling out, then they find out that none of those protections, those family protections, are there, like an employee would get. So, the kindest thing that you can do for someone who's part of the family is actually giving them the paperwork that protects the when goodwill isn't enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've got some calls coming through on 011-883-0702. WhatsApps as well on 0727021702. Have you regularized your domestic worker? And what sort of issues have you come across that have been a hindrance to you doing so? Titi, you calling from Pretoria. Good morning.
Clement, hope you well.
I'm good, brother. Go ahead.
Shep, just 2 points. I think this thing with domestic workers, it's a bit complicated. And I understand what we are trying to do in terms of regulating it, but I think it becomes complicated because of 2 things. For one, for example, if you say someone is a stay-in helper, if you calculate how much they would have spent on transport, let's say they would have spent 1.5 on transport, taxi a month, they would have been paying 2,000-3,000 rand rent where they stay. They would have been spending 1,000 rand on food. That's already 6,000 rand. So if they're staying in with me, and they're staying with me, right? They don't pay anything. They eat what I eat. Do I then pay them the balance based on the calculation that the regulation says? Do I then pay them the balance, or what do I say? To your point of now they are part of the family. Secondly, hello?
Yeah, we're listening.
Yes. Secondly, a lot of domestic workers, they don't want to be registered, and it's normally your old ladies like who say, look, there's no need for me to need a payslip. I'm okay. I just want so if you register me, I'm going to get less. Yes, it might benefit me when there's an injury or there's UIF claim, but it's going to disadvantage me. And also, will it not disadvantage many households from hiring domestic workers when there's that forced compliance? Because now, if you think about it, the moment you comply, the costs do go up, and that's the reality, right? I did a simple calculation on the askmandla.com website, and it gave me a fee of around 10K. But if I'm paying my helper 5K, and that's what she wants, when it's saying 10K, I'm not saying then I'd rather not collect the employment because I can't afford 10K, especially in this day and age or in this economy. So what do I don't hire? That means unemployment goes high. So I think it's a very complicated one that we need to look at. And a lot of domestic workers, if you go to the ground, they say, do not register me. That 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 rand, whatever it is, give it to me straight.
As
you
it
want
is.
it to me, give it to me as it is. I'm happy. I go home. My kids are growing.
Got you. Titi in Pretoria, thank you so much for your call. I'll get Peter to respond to that. Let me take Angelique as well in Springs. Angelique, hi.
Hi. Yes, my experience with it is it's all this red tape. I've been trying for so long to register my staff. And then I've got a small business. And then I'll try and register it on the SARS e-filing system. And I try and register for PAYE and UIF and SDR. Then they ask you to send a whole load of documents. Then you send a whole load of documents. Then you've got to wait 21 days. And remember, it's a very, very small company. I've probably got my domestic worker. And then I wait. Then I forget about it. Because life goes on. And then I get something, oh no, sorry, it's not been approved. Okay, now I've got to redo the application again. Then I've got to go. It's just a constant back and forth with the government. That eventually, a year goes past, 2 years goes past, you haven't registered. And you're going, you see, I've got to do this. I need to go back and life goes on and you forget. So we don't want to do it. It's just that the red tape to try and do this it's terrible. It's like, no, they might as well just come take a blood sample.
Got you, Angelique. Got you. Peter, TT there speaks about many domestic workers who say, don't put me up, don't register me, because when you do, then I have to pay tax. And that means this money is that leave what I'm getting paid. And Angelique speaks about what you've already touched on, the red tape that exists for compliance.
Sure. So, in terms of the red tape, the whole point we exist is to try and eliminate much of that admin and complexity as possible. That's a pretty simple one for me to answer. We try and take that burden off your plates. We have all the correct forms in place that we submit on your behalf, and that's the whole point there. In terms of the other questions, each case is obviously slightly unique, but the two things to remember is obviously there's the legal requirement of employment, and so that's the one part. But the other one is obviously the dignity of acknowledging someone within the formal economy, right? So some of the traps that people fall into is this informal employment, which is both illegal, but also doesn't give that employee the benefits and dignity that they deserve. In terms of those thresholds, and potentially, I think one of the things people are quite scared about is hitting the PAYE gap. Is that the vast majority we find sit below that gap. So it's actually worthwhile, checking in with us to see, where you currently sit with your employer and what the actual structures are and benefits that you may have in place with them. But at the end of the day, it's really about doing the right thing by your worker. Because, for example, if you do land up in a situation where you have a dispute and you don't have some of the stuff in place, it can really bite you. And the other is, what people also don't realize is that COIDA covers all of these workers already. So if they do get injured when you are working for you in your home, they can go and claim from COIDA. And if unregistered, the liability then sits on your plate. So it's a bit of a scary one, but it can be very easily solved for a pretty small fee on an annual basis.
Yeah. Here's some WhatsApp voice notes that have come through.
Morning, Clem. This is Jay from Krugersdorp. On this domestic worker topic, so what if a domestic worker sort of starts the process of actually getting themselves registered and getting a contract? What if their employers just simply deny, or they just say no to them, or they just say no to registering them? What happens then? I just want to know, because you find there's just some employers that might be avoiding, the legislation and whatnot. So, are there any measures to protect the rights, per se, for lack of a better word, for these domestic workers in case their employers just say no to them getting registered for UIF and those kind of benefits?
Yeah, Peter?
Absolutely. So you got to remember that any employment relationship, whether documented or not, is still an acknowledged and formal relationship. So it's still backed by the BCEA. So they still are within the labor law realm. So it's still a legal relationship. And again, as I mentioned in the previous comments, COIDA still applies. They're still covered. So if anything goes wrong, or if they do have a dispute, they do have the legal basis to go to the CCMA. They've got a legal basis to go to COIDA. So the right thing to do is actually just to get involved and do the right thing, because, and it's the whole reason we've set up what we have, is because to make it as simple as possible. You have a WhatsApp conversation, both parties, within a few minutes you've got this stuff set up. Yeah. And it's just about taking the first step, really.
Tsakani, you're in Cape Town. What's your question? Good morning.
Hi. Good morning, Clement. So I have a question. So this industry of domestic workers is a little bit more complicated than that, because sometimes you do find someone even through an agency. But are we expected to register them or sign that contract like as soon as they walk into our home? Look at their performance, how they get along with the kids, the dogs, and then we sign an employment agreement after having them for a month in our home, and then within that month where we are still sussing them out, or they're on a probation type of situation. What do we do in that month? Yes.
No, got you, Tsakani. Thank you. Yeah, Peter, so at what point then do you regularize them? Is it post that probation period or as soon as you hire them? We've also received a call earlier from someone who asked about domestic workers that are not documented. Is it possible to even regularize them?
So to answer the first question again, it still fits within labour law. Yes, a contract is required from the moment they walk in. Standard probationary periods can apply, so you can go through a review period, but it is regulated by the rules of the Labour Act. So you can't just bring someone in and because you don't like them or they don't quite perform like you want them to, just dismiss them. It does fit into the standard labour law practices. Sorry.
The second question was about undocumented domestic workers or foreign nationals who work for you?
So obviously there's been a lot of discussion around this at the moment, and obviously that fits into which was all in the headlines now, this whole proposed 100,000 Rand fine for undocumented workers. Remember, those are both local and foreign undocumented workers. So, unfortunately, as per standard home affair practices, foreign nationals have to have a proper work permit in order to work here, and that absolutely applies.
Yeah.
And so they would have to go through the standard practice of getting them registered, getting them legal, and then, but those same labour regulations apply to them as well. Yeah.
Okay. And then how do people, interact with Ask Mandla?
So, as we said, it's a WhatsApp first service. So, the easiest is to go to askmandla.com. Just click on the button there, which will take you to the WhatsApp agent. And then you simply just discuss, you simply have a conversation. So you say hi, it'll ask you, or you can actually ask it any questions you want, whether it's labor law stuff, whether it's onboarding, whether it's, any questions around anything that you want to know about your domestic relationship. And then it'll guide you through the process of onboarding if that's what you want to do, set up the contract for you, and then you can use that on a monthly basis to engage, track your leave, do whatever you need to do.
Got you. So askmandla.com. Thank you, Peter Adolphs, the co-founder and CEO at Ask Mandla. It's after 11:30. Bali has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Just days after violent water protests left a community reeling in Ratanda, the Lisedi local municipality has been dealt yet another financial blow. National Treasury has temporarily withheld July equitable share grant payments to more than 60 municipalities across the country. This is over persistent financial mismanagement and governance failures. Lisedi is amongst those municipalities affected. A third accused has officially been added in the case of the alleged theft of precious stones worth nearly 15 million rand in 2023. Former Ekurhuleni Metro Police officer Kersha Stolz made her first appearance in the Johannesburg Magistrates Court today after handing herself over to the police. It's alleged that she was part of a group of officers from different policing units that stole precious stones during a fake raid at a house in Killarney. And EFF leader Julius Malema's apparent relationship with tainted crime intelligence boss Feroz Khan is in the spotlight at the Madlanga Commission today. The commission has focused on WhatsApp messages between Khan and tobacco businessman Mo Saeed, which show that the two were linked to the EFF leader. It's emerged that Saeed often acted as the middleman between Khan as well as Malema. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, travelling on the N3 North, we've got an accident reported right after Marlborough Drive. It's causing heavy traffic volumes. Please be on the lookout there. While heading towards Bedford View, queuing traffic along the N12 West towards the Glulis interchange. Then in Boksburg, roadworks are causing delays on the N17 West between the R21 and Osborne Road. There's also queuing traffic reported in Crown City along the M2 West. Just as you approach Main Reef Road, there's an accident there. It's causing about a 15-minute hold-up coming out of the Crown interchange. Please be on the lookout there. Then heading towards the city of Tshwane via the N1 North, expect delays just as you approach the Allendale Road exit. More updates at the top of the hour. Do stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
You've been to lots of World Cups. What do you think of what you've seen so far, and who's looking like winning it?
All the superstars have come to the party, goals for Messi and Mbappe and now Haaland as well. There's a freshness about this particular World Cup. Some of the games have been outstanding.
Best team in the tournament, and who's going to win the tournament? What would be your answer to those two?
France and France.
Yeah? Okay. Netherlands in 1974. Beautiful football teams don't always win it, but you're going France and France.
I'm going France and France.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Welcome to Nando's Taste-Testimonials.
It's the flavor!
Real reviews by real people. Dolly from Boertersig is vegetarian-ish, with a reputation to uphold. Here's what she whispered about the half chicken and a single side for $1.25.
What? I don't eat chicken, but for Nando's, I make the exception.
Well, good thing there's a salad on the side, for appearances. Of course. Nando's. Oh, what a place.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Yes! It's Decofern's birthday sale. So, with 15 to 40% off and more, then technically, this $12.99 Josie dining chair is $17.94 free. Free!
Honey, that's not how maths works.
It's birthday maths. Celebrate our birthday in-store or at decofernsa.co.za with 15 to 40% and more off absolutely everything. Decofern birthday maths. Don't question it, just save. T's and C's apply.
Joburg is more than just a city. It's an energy, a pulse, and a feeling connecting everybody. The heart of Mzansi.
It's Joburg.
In celebration of this, 702 has partnered with Jozi My Jozi, and we're calling on you to walk through the city center with us.
Walk the talk.
In the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk. Babize bonke. On Sunday, 26 July, we're going to the iconic Joburg CBD, the home of dream creators and operators, where we dominate and history make. So join us and be a part of something special.
I'm ready to rock this book.
Because when Joburg walks together, extraordinary things happen. Enter now on primemediaplus.com and get ready for 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk this July, hosted by the City of Johannesburg. Walk with the people, for the people, for our Jozi. Babize bonke. Enter Walk the Talk now on primemediaplus.com.
702.
Health and wellness.
It's 20 minutes now before 12 o'clock, and every single Tuesday around this time we focus on health matters. We do our health and wellness feature, and this health and wellness feature is brought to you by Cipla. Stay connected with us. Today we're understanding congestion with our guest, Dr. Michael Moll, who is a medical doctor. And when winter arrives, and it has arrived, and with it, the season's most familiar house guest, right? The block nose. And across the country, there are families that are dealing with disrupted sleep, snoring partners, and toddlers who can't feed properly because they can't breathe. And we tend to blame germs or simply just write it off as, it's that time of the year. But as you will hear from Dr. Michael Moll, the real story is playing out inside the nose itself, a 24-hour system most people have never thought about that quietly breaks down every winter. So understanding what's actually happening in there could change and maybe even improve the way most of us respond to congestion. So joining us now on the line is Dr. Michael Mole, who's a medical doctor, also an executive television producer. Dr. Michael Mole, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning.
It's always good to be with you, Clement. Hope it's a little warmer up in Jozi than it is down in Cape Town.
Oh, yeah, it is a little warm. It was quite cold on Friday, but I think we're getting warmer and warmer as the days go. Why does it feel like, Dr. Michael Mole, the whole family gets sick during this winter period when it hits every single year? It's almost like it's what we should expect.
Yeah. I mean, most people, Clement, would assume the answer is more germs are going around, more time indoors, which is partly true, but it's not the whole story. And you mentioned it right in the beginning. The real story is happening inside our noses. Now, if you picture the inside of your nose like a conveyor belt covered in sticky flypaper. So just do that. I mean, this is radio after all, the theater of the mind. You've got millions of tiny hairs, they're called cilia, millions of microscopic oars, if you like, all rowing in the same direction. But they're not rowing randomly. They move in a wave, like Norwegian football fans watching Brazil lose. Jeeps, that was insane. But that wave never stops, and it beats around 15 times per second, back to the little hairs in your nose. And that coordinated rowing is what pushes a mucus layer and everything trapped in it steadily backward toward your throat. So anything that lands in that flypaper, dust or pollen or bacteria, viruses, you name it, that all gets carried away and swallowed, and your stomach acid finishes the job. So, I mean, I often tell patients, you spent your whole life thinking of your nose as an entrance. It's actually the exit for everything trying to make you sick. And that system runs 24 hours a day, whether you notice it or not. It's arguably, I think, one of the most underrated pieces of our entire immune system. And Clement, to answer your question right in the beginning, in winter, that conveyor belt slows right down. That's why we get sick.
So there are many parents listening to us now who probably have a toddler who can't breathe through their nose every winter. Is this a bigger deal than most people realize?
It's actually a much bigger deal than most people realize, particularly with babies. For roughly the first few months of life, babies are what we call obligatory nose breathers. In other words, they haven't reliably learned to switch over to mouth breathing on demand the way you and I do. So when a baby's nose blocks up, it's not just awkward or uncomfortable. It can directly interfere with feeding, because a baby genuinely struggles to suck and breathe through their mouth at the same time, as would you and I. But it obviously wrecks their sleep, which wrecks everyone else's sleep in the house, and you get that negative cycle. I mean, that's why pediatricians worldwide will tell parents, gently clean your baby's nose before you feed and before bed, particularly in winter. It's not a nice to have. It really can be the difference between a baby feeding properly and one who just simply can't settle. So clean those noses.
Yeah, okay, clean the noses. What actually helps then, Dr. Michael Mole? Because, you know, every single winter there's a new hack that's going to do the rounds. People will use, whether it's humidifiers, steam, some will tell you about salt water rinses. What actually works?
Yeah. Clement, am I going to have to refer to you as Clement Manyathela every time you call me Dr. Michael Mole?
and you've warned me about this
Michael.
before.
But to get back to your question, what are hacks? What's proven? So I think there's always this in medicine. There's always this folklore versus what's proven. There's science. There's hype. So saline or seawater nasal irrigation, basically rinsing your nose with saltwater solution, has real peer-reviewed evidence behind it. It's actually been reviewed by Cochrane, which, if you don't know, is about as gold standard as scientific evidence gets. Now, it won't cure a virus, but it helps that conveyor belt do its job. In other words, it remoistens the mucus layer, it clears out the debris, and it gets those tiny hairs moving and rowing properly again. And there are two versions worth knowing about, Clement. You get an isotonic solution, which matches the salt concentration of your own body fluid. So that's gentle, it's for daily maintenance. It's like brushing your teeth. And then you get a hypertonic solution that's got a higher salt concentration than your body. And that difference actually pulls fluid out of swollen nasal tissue, which gives it a real decongestant effect when you're properly blocked up. And, people talk about salt water clearing or seawater clearing. The difference really is it's identical. The clearing is identical, but seawater naturally carries trace minerals, magnesium, zinc, copper, selenium. So where the science is proven for saltwater clearing, The seawater element, there's a reasonable biological plausible case that those minerals can support the health of that mucus lining. No definite studies, but that's why I prefer seawater.
Oh, I see. And I want to hear from the listeners on 011-883-0702. What solutions have you tried? Maybe if you've dealt with congestion or your children have, are you currently struggling with congestion? Or maybe you've got a question for Michael. Give us a call or send a WhatsApp on 0727021702. So is there a meaningful difference, though, between seawater-based rinses and a simple homemade saltwater solution?
So, Clement, as I said, I mean, the core mechanism, salt water clearing and moisturizing, identical between salt water and seawater. But seawater carries those natural trace minerals, so magnesium, copper, selenium. I think there's zinc in there as well. So for me, it's plausible. I think it really does support the health of mucus lining. But if you're going to ask me for a study that shows you that, or the Cochrane review, there isn't that. So it makes sense. It's not going to do any harm. I go with seawater.
Okay.
That's the honest answer.
All right. How about the nasal spray? Because there are many people who reach for a nasal spray the moment their nose blocks. Could this habit be doing more harm than good?
Particularly if you're a host on 702 and you don't want to sound bunged up and blocked up every time you reach for the mic. So, no, you're not alone. If that's you, it's probably the most common thing people do. And short term, it works brilliantly, these nasal sprays. The problem is what happens if you keep using it beyond about 3 to 5 days in a row. So those sprays work by constricting the blood vessels in your nose to shrink the swelling, all right? But your body adapts. And when that drug wears off, those vessels rebound and they swell up even more than before. I mean, it's actually, the medical name is rhinitis medicamentosa. I can't believe I remember that. Rhinitis medicamentosa. You can forget I just said that, but basically people end up in a cycle where they need the spray just to breathe normally, and stopping feels almost impossible because you're now almost not addicted, but you need that, decongestant, and that's the trap. Whereas saline or seawater rinse doesn't carry that risk at all. You generally cannot become dependent on salt water. And if you are addicted to salt water, then maybe you're a surfer.
Okay, so what I'm about to ask you now is something that I really was hoping it's not what I think it is. But mouth taping, like people really do that at night? And this seems to be quite an unusual trend right now. People are literally taping their mouths shut to force themselves to breathe through their nose. Is that helpful?
So, Clement, are you asking as in, like, I want this to be true or I don't want this to be true?
I find it to be bizarre that you're taping your mouth the entire night.
Well, I mean, it's peak biohacking right now. So TikTok, my favorite, is full of people taping their mouths shut like they're wrapping a parcel, or, convinced it's a secret to better sleep and sharper jaw lines, even lower blood pressure. There's amazing stuff on TikTok. It's very, very entertaining. Whether it's true or not begs the question. But if we look at the evidence, and that's really why you and I keep chatting as we do, what does the evidence say? Because there is a real principle underneath it, and there is a safety concern too that sits on top of it. So if you are a mouth taper, if you bought that little strip from the pharmacy, you need to know this. The principle is sound. Based on everything we've talked about today, nose breathing filters the air, it keeps that clearance system working properly. So the logic of stop mouth breathing at night isn't crazy at face value. So plausible, all right? But here's where I need to play science police for a moment. A proper systematic review published this year, Clement, 2026, pulled together every study ever done on mouth taping. And there were a grand total of 10, and every single one was rated low quality on the standard scientific quality scale. So studies were done, but they weren't great studies. And the honest verdict, and I think you're going to like this, no strong evidence of benefit for the average person when it comes to mouth taping. So TikTok says yes, science says meh. But here's the part that I think should genuinely worry people, and sorry to interrupt you. If you've got and this is the kind of the serious part, if you have undiagnosed or untreated sleep apnea and you tape your mouth shut, you can make things worse. Because during an apnea event, when people stop breathing, some people instinctively open their mouth to get air when their nose is blocked. And if you remove that option, you can drop your oxygen levels further, not improve them. So if I had to try to put that all together, I would say mouth taping is plausible, but it's unproven for the average general population and potentially risky as a DIY biohack if you haven't ruled out sleep apnea first. And if you're not sure what sleep apnea is, snoring or mouth breathing, if that's an issue in your house, the answer isn't a roll of tape from the pharmacy. It's a proper sleep assessment.
All right, I've got a few questions and inputs coming through from our listeners on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Clement, and the knowledgeable doctor there. I just want to know how effective and safe are nasal decongestant, not the saline ones. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael?
Clement, I think we answered that a little earlier. They are safe for the first 3 days. If you need to use them beyond 3, 4, 5 days, you become dependent on them for restricting those blood vessels and keeping the swelling down. As soon as you stop, it comes back like an angry wife. Actually, that's not fair. I love my wife. It comes back with a vengeance and blocks up again. And so you need more of the decongestant. So if you have a blocked nose and you need to be on radio, you've got to have a great voice. By all means, use that for 3 days. But if you need it beyond that, then you need to go and use saline. You need to find another way to decongest your nose. Don't depend on a decongestant for more than 3 to 5 days.
All right. And then Mpo on the WhatsApp line is also asking, Clement, please ask Dr. Mall, is it safe to use seawater, knowing that a lot of our seawater has high counts of bacteria?
It's an interesting question. The amount of seawater that you spray in your nose when you do nasal irrigation is minimal. So the risk of that being contaminated by bacteria is zero, particularly in a pharmaceutical grade or a pharmacy grade product that is on the shelf and has been checked and double checked and verified. So no risk at all when it comes to seawater and bacteria when you're using nasal irrigation. But good question though.
Yeah. How about decongesting a baby? How do you do that? Can you use breast milk for that?
Was that a question or are you asking, Clement?
It's a question I'm asking.
So anything that is warm and is fluid-like in nature can assist with a baby to decongest that nose. So breast milk, warm, body temperature, great. Salt water, also fine. I wouldn't use hypertonic, in other words, a highly concentrated salt spray. I just use your isotonic, your normal natural body salt spray, if you like, a body salt equivalent spray for babies. But just dripping a little bit of salt water, a little bit of breast milk, all fine to try and keep that nose clear.
Got you. All right. It's
whiskey, no.
No.
Tequila,
really?
No. Yeah.
Whiskey doesn't really work? Well, not
Don't
for a
put that on a
baby.
baby's nose.
Okay. It's going up to 6 minutes now before 12 o'clock. After the break, we'll come back to more of your questions and inputs.
Mavis, I wonder if I should sell my car. I'm not sure where to go.
Wanna sell your car, but don't know what to do. You don't have to go far, we come to you. If you're rolling under 1.5 or a Lacquer 2.2, doesn't matter what you drive, we buy cars once you.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
The world's best male and female paddle players are coming to South Africa. The historic Premier Paddle Pretoria P1 will be at Sunbet Arena Times Square from 26 July to the 2nd of August. Expect world-class action, unbelievable energy, premium hospitality, and an atmosphere unlike anything South African sport has seen before. This is Africa's biggest paddle tournament ever, and tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance to witness the sport's biggest stars in South Africa. Get your tickets now at primemediaplus.com.
On Sunday, the 26th of July, Absa and Mazda are making your 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk truly iconic with a chance to win a brand new Mazda 2 on the day. To enter, download, register, and transact on the Absa banking app between the 26th of June and the 20th of July 2026. Josie, Absa sees you. Asambe. Absa is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Competition terms and conditions apply.
702
Health and Wellness.
5 minutes before 12 o'clock, we're just about to wrap up our conversation with Dr. Michael Mall, and we have been discussing on our health and wellness feature so far congestion. We're trying to understand congestion, because as you've heard, winter, every time it arrives, it also arrives with a household familiar guest, right? The blocked nose. So how do you deal with that? So I've got your questions coming through on the WhatsApp line on 072-702-1702. Still on mouth taping though, Michael. I mean, that isn't for everyone, as you've explained, but who should avoid trying it all together? That's one of the questions we received on the WhatsApp line.
So someone that has diagnosed or confirmed sleep apnea, you don't want to tape your mouth up. So sleep apnea is difficulty in breathing. If you tape your mouth up and your nose is blocked or you cannot breathe at night, your body automatically switches to mouth breathing because it needs oxygen. Now suddenly you've blocked your mouth, and depending on how strong that tape is, you might not be able to get oxygen. Your oxygen levels drop. It messes with your sleep. It's got all sorts of negative side effects. Low oxygen has all sorts of stress on your body, raises cortisol. So I'm painting a horrible picture, really, to say if you have diagnosed sleep apnea, or your wife complains that you snore loudly all the time and you breathe slower and slower, please don't use mouth taping because it could put you at risk.
Yeah. So when should a parent then take a child to hospital for congestion? At what point should you be worried?
I'd give a child generally, and it's hard to tell moms this. I will look at a mom and if she's really, desperate need of help. But I'd say about 4 to 5 days of a child that's really battling to breathe, or not battling to breathe, battling to eat, battling to settle. If that isn't working, if you've tried sort of nasal aspiration to get these lovely little bulbs that actually can clear noses by sucking out the gunk in your baby's nose, if that's not working and your baby's not settling and not feeding, in fact, I wouldn't wait 5 days. I'd give it 3 days and then go get a pediatrician or get your GP to have a look and see what they can do to relieve that congestion.
Got it. And then there are people who struggle with congestion due to allergies. How can they deal with this long term? Any advice?
So antihistamines are really great for that. But again, remember, often allergies come in through your nose, and having those cilia capture the pollen, capture the dust, capture the things that trigger allergies, and having a healthy nasal irrigation system working, that conveyor belt with a sticky flypaper, really aids in getting rid of that pollen. So I would just say, in fact, if there were 3 things, I'd really want you to kind of remember if you're driving your car right now. Firstly, put a bit of humidity back into your bedroom this winter. And that's even if you struggle with allergies. You do get winter allergies. A bowl of water near the heater even helps. So just moisten the air that's dry in winter. Secondly, treat nasal hygiene like brushing your teeth, not like medicine. So every day, a gentle daily rinse for you and gently for your kids, not just when you're already sick. So that's just good health. And then basically, if you find yourself reaching for a decongestant spray more than 3 or 4 days running, that's your cue, as we said earlier, to stop and switch to something saline-based instead before it becomes a habit you can't break. I mean, the thing is, you've got these millions of Norwegian oars, not quite, but they've been rowing for you day in, day out, asking for nothing but a bit of moisture and a break from the spray bottle. And that, to me, is about the cheapest healthcare you're ever going to get when it comes to winter management of good health.
Dr. Michael Mo, thank you so much for joining us. Now, give your little one the comfort of easier breathing with Sterima Baby Nasal Hygiene, made with 100% natural seawater and rich in trace elements, is specially designed to gently cleanse and moisturize tiny noses. The unique baby-friendly nozzle helps make nasal cleaning safe and gentle, helping your baby breathe more easily for better sleep and feeding. For natural daily nasal hygiene, choose Sterima Baby. Sterima, breathe better, live better.
Coming up
on the Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
Good morning, Mandy.
Good morning,
What's
Clement.
popping?
So the Madlanga Commission has just said, and I heard you talking about it actually, that they're speaking to the President about potentially getting an extension. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to have a look at what's happening with the evidence today. Major General Feroz Khan's apparent relationship with Julius Malema, the EFF leader, under scrutiny. Major General Feroz Khan obviously not there. He's still in hospital. The announcement from Treasury that it's withholding funds for Joburg and 70 other municipalities as well. What does that mean for Joburg? Can it get its house in order? The ConCourt has found part of the Refugees Act unconstitutional and invalid. And an announcement this morning that Shell is selling its petrol stations to an Abu Dhabi oil giant, ADNOC Holdings.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, a $1 billion deal.
Ooh, fascinating. I was just talking to a friend about Shell just the other day. All right, that's the midday report coming up on the 702 with Mandy Wiener. Remember, tomorrow we are going to host the Unemployment Hour from 10 o'clock. So this is to allow any unemployed graduate that you may know, just tell them to listen and call us at 10 o'clock so they can tell us what skills they have, what experience they have, or qualifications they have, and we'll try pair them up with businesses that are looking for those skills. And if you are a business out there, a recruitment agency, and you've got skills that you require for your company, send us an email on cm@702.co.za. Don't miss the Unemployment Hour tomorrow at 10 o'clock on this show. Thank you for listening to the Tuesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. We'll be back tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Just days after violent water protests left a community reeling in Rotunda, the Lesedi local municipality has been dealt another financial blow. National Treasury has temporarily withheld July equitable share grant payments to more than 60 municipalities across the country. This is over persistent financial mismanagement and governance failures. Lesedi is amongst those that have been affected.